Welcome to the Crime for Sleep channel. Let me know where you're watching from and what time it is. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Story 1. In the quiet stillness of the night, a wooden plank shifted beneath her weight, revealing a hidden world beneath her very feet. Sarah Coleman knelt down, her fingers tracing the edges of the loose board, sensing the mystery that lay beneath. With gentle determination, she lifted the boards, unveiling a dark, secret chamber under her new home. Detective Morgan Reed watched silently as Sarah peered into the darkness below, her eyes reflecting a mixture of fear and curiosity. It wasn't just a hidden room that Sarah had discovered, it was a violation of her sanctuary, a glimpse into the twisted mind of someone who had been watching her every move. "Be careful," Detective Reed cautioned, her voice steady and reassuring as she shone her flashlight into the concealed space. The beam-illuminated walls adorned with surveillance photos of Sarah, capturing moments of her daily life in eerie detail, a chilling shrine to an obsession that had been lurking beneath the surface all along. The cottage had been purchased from the estate of Walter Green, an enigmatic figure who had kept his distance from the community. Sarah had been unaware of his presence, believing the basement access had long been sealed off. But as the investigators combed through the hidden chamber, they uncovered a disturbing truth. Fingerprints, photographs, and a tattered notebook filled with Sarah's name, repeated endlessly, revealed the extent of Walter's fixation. He had been watching her for years, weaving himself into the fabric of her life without her ever knowing. As the investigation unfolded, a pattern of obsession and delusion emerged. Walter's past revealed a history of erotomania, a dangerous fixation on unattainable love that had resurfaced with Sarah as its target. The pieces of the puzzle fell into place, painting a portrait of a man driven by a twisted belief in their destined connection. In a storage unit linked to Walter, a replica of Sarah's former life awaited, a chilling imitation of her reality meticulously recreated. A calendar marked with a foreboding date hinted at a sinister plan that had been cut short by fate. The truth sent shivers down Detective Reed's spine as she grappled with the darkness that had nearly consumed Sarah. The thin line between safety and danger had been blurred, a reminder of the unseen threats that linger just below the surface. Sarah made the difficult decision to leave behind the house tainted by Walter's presence, seeking solace in a new beginning far from the shadows of her past. As life moved on, the cottage found new owners, unaware of the haunting history hidden beneath its floorboards. For those who had witnessed the unveiling of Walter's obsession, the echoes of his twisted desires lingered, a cautionary tale of the darkness that can lurk unbeknownst to those who walk in its shadow. And as the night settled over the once tainted house, a sense of peace descended, masking the secrets that lay buried beneath the floor. Story 2. The gentle current whispered its lullaby that quiet morning, the water mirroring the sky in its serene stillness. The fisherman's gaze meandered lazily until it caught on something out of place, a suitcase, bobbing near the shore like a forgotten secret. Initially dismissing it as a mere pile of discarded fabric, he felt a shiver crawl down his spine as he drew nearer, the air thick with an unsettling scent that refused to be ignored. The case, adorned with chains like a prisoner, bore the scars of time etched in rust along its edges. When the authorities pried open the case, it wasn't garments that greeted them but a macabre sight. Tangled locks of hair, fingers frozen in a silent plea, and at the depths a chilling note: this isn't the first. Detective Sarah Mercer, a figure of quiet authority, raised a delicate handkerchief to her lips as she surveyed the somber scene. The victim, a woman in her prime, her dark locks now sodden and her once pale skin mottled by the river's embrace, lay before them. The meticulous medical examiner, a weaver of facts and truths, meticulously documented each detail before the body was tenderly lifted away. What haunted Mercer was not the manner of disposal, but the eerie reverence with which the victim had been prepared, her nails impeccably manicured, her hair freshly styled, clad in garments that spoke of luxury and refinement. She was not left here, Mercer mused, her eyes tracing the dance of water against the muddy banks. She was placed, adorned. The victim, revealed as Catherine Walsh, a purveyor of dreams in the realm of high-end real estate, a soul unburdened by the ties of marriage or motherhood, dwelled in solitude within the embrace of an upscale neighborhood. Colleagues painted her as a portrait of ambition, of exacting precision, of a veil of privacy that cloaked her true self. Her absence had been noted by her assistant, a faithful shadow, when she failed to grace a pivotal showing for esteemed clients. She would never miss such an opportunity. The assistant's words rang with conviction during the interrogation. That sale was to be her crowning achievement. Within Walsh's abode, a temple of modernity and order, investigators found perfection in every corner, a place for everything, and everything in its place. Designer furnishings stood as though frozen in reverence. Not a mote of dust dared to mar any surface. The refrigerator, a sentinel of sustenance, harbored meals meticulously arranged in regimented rows, labeled for each passing day. Yet a whisper of disarray beckoned from her home office, a drawer slightly ajar, concealing a leather-bound journal. The final entry, a cryptic message. He's watching again. Same car, different plates. The digital tapestry of Walsh's online existence unveiled a curious thread, dozens of missives from shadowed accounts, each bearing the same ominous declaration: I see your perfection. All dispatched at the stroke of the same hour on different days. Her digital footprints danced with inquiries into home fortifications and tools of personal safeguarding. Mercer, the weaver of threads unseen, wove a tapestry of realization from these fragments, the meticulous display of the victim, the careful choreography. Our culprit is not driven by fury, she murmured to her silent confidant. This is a ritual, a symphony of precision. The key to unlocking the dark enigma arrived from an unexpected quarter. A humble pawnshop owner, a guardian of forgotten treasures, recognized Walsh's emerald necklace among his trove of offerings. The man who had parted with the jewel bore a familiar face, Michael Linden, an unassuming custodian of maintenance. Surveillance tendrils unveiled his dance within Walsh's sanctuary, his presence a shadow cast in moments of her absence. A semblance of normalcy clung to him like a cloak, masking the abyss within. As Linden's threshold was crossed by the relentless march of justice, his abode yielded a gallery of souls captured in moments of vulnerability. Walsh's visage, alongside others of kindred spirit, adorned the walls in a macabre tapestry of obsession. Some faces were marked by the damning touch of scarlet ink. Walsh stood as the third in a line of unwitting muses. Beneath a veil of secrecy within his closet, a shrine unfurled its dark petals. Each victim's essence, a collection of relics and errant hair clinging to a brush, a tissue stained with traces of lipstick, remnants of lives extinguished. A journal of whispered confessions chronicled the minutiae of their existence, the rhythm of their days. As Linden sat in the chamber of judgment, his demeanor as tranquil as a dormant lake, the truth unfurled like a noxious bloom. They were flawed, his voice cut through the silence, devoid of remorse. They paraded their perfection, but it was a facade. Catherine's desk held chaos, her lipstick missed a mark, her perfection was a lie. The hunt for the shadows of the past, hinted in his cryptic note, led to desolate reaches where two more cases unveiled their grim cargo. Women of kindred spirit to Walsh, souls tethered by the mantle of perfectionism in the realm of real estate. Lyndon's trial, a theater of justice, saw him sentenced to a lifetime of shadows, bereft of redemption. For Mercer, the curtain finally closed on the tragedy, yet echoes lingered in the corridors of her mind. What specters from Lyndon's past had birthed his obsession? What flawed mirror had driven him to seek absolution through acts of darkness? The river, a silent witness to the passage of time, carried away the remnants of the tale, its waters cleansing the sins of the past. Yet on Mercer's desk lay copies of those chilling diaries, a testament to the shadows that lurk within the fauda of normalcy. In the heart of the mundane, darkness can fester, waiting for a moment of vulnerability to unfurl its wings. And in those moments of quiet reflection, one can't help but wonder what unseen predators roam in the guise of the familiar, their eyes fixed on the hunt for imperfection, their hands stained with the ink of destiny. Story 3. In a quaint nursery of the Morgan residence, a young woman embarked on the task of repainting before the imminent arrival of her baby. The walls, once adorned in a faded blue hue, harbored a history veiled beneath their worn layers. As she diligently applied the first coat of fresh white paint, a mysterious revelation transpired. Hidden beneath the surface, barely discernible at first, were letters, faint whispers from the past that gradually sharpened into clarity. A cryptic message etched below the surface caught her off guard. "Don't let it hear you." Startled, she stumbled backward, her gaze drawn to an unsettling sight, the imprint of tiny handprints in the wet paint, positioned too high on the wall to have been crafted by a child's touch. This eerie discovery in the nursery set the stage for what would become known as the Whispering House case among investigators. The young couple had acquired the Victorian-style abode at an unbelievably low price, unaware of the sinister secrets it held. Detective Sarah Klein, adorned with a notebook, stood at the threshold awaiting entry. The door swung open to reveal a pregnant woman, her belly protruding beneath paint-splattered overalls. Dark circles enveloped her weary eyes, evidence of sleepless nights. Trembling, she recounted the chilling encounter with the hidden message and handprints left behind by unseen forces. The previous occupants had vanished without a trace, departing under the shroud of night, leaving only essential belongings crammed into their car, as per the neighbors' accounts. Detective Klein traversed the aged corridors of the historic home, the creaking floorboards whispering tales of the past. Within the nursery, she scrutinized the partially painted wall, the enigmatic message still faintly visible amidst the abandoned paint job. Beside it, 5 diminutive handprints marred the fresh paint, placed at a height that defied logical explanation. Back at the precinct, Detective Klein delved into the property records, unveiling a troubling pattern of ownership changes over 3 decades. Each family had swiftly departed within a span of 2 years or less, with disturbing child welfare reports surfacing for several of them. Stories of children hearing whispers within the walls and feeling unseen eyes upon them echoed through the archives, painting a grim picture of the house's past. A deeper investigation uncovered the property's ties to Eleanor Blackwood, a wealthy widow who once operated an orphanage within its walls during the industrial era. Newspaper clippings hinted at the disappearance of 5 children under Eleanor's care, their fate presumed to be that of runaways. However, a sealed room discovered behind the nursery wall during renovations decades later hinted at a darker truth. The hidden chamber held remnants of the children's small shoes, toys, and clothing, but their remains were conspicuously absent. Detective Klein's pursuit of the truth led her to interview former residents, whose testimonies wove a tapestry of inexplicable occurrences within the house. Toys rearranged overnight, laughter reverberating through empty hallways, and ghostly messages scrawled upon the walls formed a chilling mosaic of supernatural phenomena. The handwriting of the warnings found during repainting sessions bore a striking resemblance to that of Eleanor Blackwood, sparking a shiver of dread down the detective's spine. The inexplicable nature of the handprints, identical in size and placement across generations of children, hinted at a malevolent force lingering within the walls. A pivotal moment arrived when the detective persuaded the current homeowners to permit a thorough investigation of the basement using ground-penetrating radar. Anomalies detected beneath the concrete floor hinted at a macabre revelation waiting to be unearthed. With precision, the workers breached the concrete, unveiling a grim tableau of 5 small sets of remains, arranged in a haunting circle, confirming the tragic fate of the orphans who had once resided within the house. Further analysis revealed that the children had perished during Eleanor's tenure, each still adorned with a pendant bearing their engraved names. Closure came in the form of a proper burial for the victims, their identities finally acknowledged as murder victims rather than mere runaways. Despite the resolution, an unsettling aura lingered within the empty house, driving the pregnant couple to shun its doors indefinitely. As Detective Klein penned her final report, a sense of unease gnawed at her, rooted in the inexplicable phenomena that continued to manifest within the now condemned dwelling. The nursery walls, witness to unspeakable horrors, were raised during the cleanup efforts, yet whispers of children's voices echoed through the debris, chilling the hearts of those who dared to linger after nightfall. The house, a spectral relic of bygone tragedies, stood silent, a cold case that defied closure, its enigmatic secrets buried within its walls, beyond the reach of mortal understanding. Among the remnants of the investigation, one photograph endured a haunting image of 5 luminous handprints etched in darkness, a poignant reminder that some echoes of the past linger eternally, impervious to the veil of time. Story 4. In the quiet solitude of the night, let me tell you a tale that will wrap you in a mysterious embrace, lulling you into a peaceful slumber. Enter the world of Rebecca Morgan, a woman who found herself entangled in a web of secrets hidden within the confines of an old attic. Rebecca, a reluctant visitor to the attic, was forced to confront its eerie contents when a storm breached the sanctuary of the roof, trickling down to disturb the forgotten treasures within. As she ascended the creaking stairs, she was met with a sight that sent shivers down her spine. Among the dusty relics and tangled cobwebs, a dollhouse stood in the shadows, its intricate details whispering of a sinister tale. The tiny furniture inside the dollhouse was meticulously arranged, each piece a mirror image of reality. But as Rebecca peered closer, a sense of dread washed over her. The figures within were not mere dolls, but delicate, hand-carved replicas of her own family. Every detail captured with unnerving precision. Except for one crucial deviation, the figure meant to be her was not seated as the others were, but standing ominously by the attic door. Running her finger over the dollhouse roof, Rebecca felt the weight of the discovery settle upon her. This was not her childhood home. It was a rental property, a temporary haven that now held a sinister secret within its walls. The dollhouse's presence spoke of a malevolent force at play, a shadowy figure orchestrating a macabre show. Distressed and bewildered, Rebecca reached out to the authorities, setting in motion a chain of events that would unravel a chilling mystery. Detective Sarah Harmon, drawn into the enigmatic case, found herself captivated by the meticulous craftsmanship of the dollhouse and the unsettling truth it concealed. Forensic analysis revealed a web of surveillance woven with meticulous care, capturing the essence of the Morgan family's daily lives. Each miniature figure held a piece of their reality, a snapshot frozen in time, a testament to an unseen presence lurking in the shadows. The investigation took a dark turn when a hidden entrance was unearthed, leading to a subterranean lair that housed an unexpected visitor. The intruder, a shadow in the night, had made a home beneath the unsuspecting family, watching, waiting, and weaving a tapestry of obsession. As the pieces of the puzzle fell into place, the truth emerged. A man named Martin Wells, the son of the previous homeowners, had crafted a twisted reality within the walls of the rental property. His fixation on control, his desperation to hold onto the past, had led him down a path of darkness and deceit. Through journals and hidden cameras, Martin's sinister game was revealed, a game of possession and manipulation that had spanned years, ensnaring multiple unsuspecting families in its grasp. The dollhouses he crafted were not mere playthings, but extensions of his fractured psyche, a means to exert dominance over those he deemed his subjects. In the eerie stillness of the courtroom, Martin Wells stood trial for his crimes, his calm demeanor belying the depths of his delusion. The judge's words echoed through the chamber, condemning him for the violation of trust and the invasion of privacy that had shattered the lives of those he had watched from the shadows. The story of the Morgan family, forever altered by the revelation of the dollhouse, serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder that even in the quietest of moments, unseen eyes may be watching, measuring, and manipulating. As Rebecca and her loved ones sought solace in a new beginning, the specter of the dollhouse lingered, a reminder of the fragility of safety and the enduring legacy of fear. So as you drift into the realm of dreams, remember the tale of Rebecca and the dollhouse, a story of shadows and secrets, of whispers in the night. May it guide you into a restful slumber where the mysteries of the world fade away and only peace remains. Good night, dear listener, and may your dreams be gentle and free from the watchful eyes of unseen forces. Story 5. In the stillness of the night, a pocket dial echoed through the void, an eerie symphony of static and muffled whispers. The operator hesitated, almost dismissing the call as mere interference, until a voice pierced through the haze. A woman, her words urgent and hushed, gasped, "He's here." And then nothing but silence, swallowing her plea whole. The phone number traced back to an empty house, a relic of the past left to decay in solitude for years. No traces of a break-in, no disturbances in the thick layers of dust that adorned the forgotten rooms. Yet in the dim light of the kitchen, untouched by time, the phone rested on the counter, its screen aglow with a call made mere minutes before. Detective Morgan Reed, haunted by the cryptic whisper that lingered in the air, replayed the recording over and over. The voice, tinged with desperation and fear, defied logic and reason. The abandoned property once belonged to the Sullivans, a family torn asunder by a devastating fire that ravaged their home years ago. Since their departure, the house had stood silent, a sentinel to memories long gone. Background check on the number, Morgan inquired of her partner, Detective Walsh. The answer revealed a chilling truth registered to Catherine Sullivan, the deceased daughter, lost to a tragic accident 3 years past. The pieces of the puzzle refused to fit, a spectral phone call from a forsaken dwelling, a ghostly echo from the beyond. The forensic team scoured the scene, searching for a tangible thread to pull in the unraveling mystery. Yet the evidence offered no solace, no clarity. The phone, a relic of the deceased, bore no fingerprints save for elusive smudges that eluded identification. No footprints marred the path to the house, no signs of life in the abandoned corridors. The heart of their inquiry lay in those fleeting moments of static and breath, the 11 seconds that defied explanation. Voice analysis confirmed the impossible. The spectral whisper matched Catherine Sullivan's voice with chilling certainty, a spectral echo from beyond the veil of the living. And the timestamp, a cruel reminder, marked the call's occurrence at the exact minute of Catherine's untimely demise. Interviews with those who knew Catherine unveiled layers of a chilling narrative. Her father, now a shadow of his former self, her mother, haunted by memories of a lost daughter. And Mark Jennings, the ex-boyfriend whose alibi crumbled under scrutiny, his past veiled in shadows and half-truths. The truth lay buried in the pages of Catherine's journal, a testament to a life cut short by fear and betrayal. Her words, a silent scream from the grave, painted a portrait of a relationship turned toxic, of a love twisted into something dark and insidious. The final entry, a chilling prophecy of doom, a plea for justice from beyond the grave. As the investigation unearthed long-buried secrets, a grim reality took shape. Mark's facade of innocence crumbled, revealing a sinister truth hidden in plain sight. The buried phone, a silent witness to a crime long past, whispered truths of a life stolen, of a soul silenced by the hands of a lover turned tormentor. In a twist of fate, the phantom caller revealed himself, a puppeteer of the macabre, a master manipulator of truth and lies. Mark's arrest, a reckoning long overdue, a verdict rendered in the silent echoes of a ghostly phone call. And as justice prevailed, as the truth unfurled its wings, Catherine's voice echoed through the halls of justice, a testament to resilience, to the power of a silenced voice finding its way back into the light. The phone, now a relic of a bygone tragedy, a reminder that even in death, the echoes of the past can still be heard, a whisper in the night, a plea for justice in the darkness. The story 6. In the quiet of the night, a gentle flicker danced across the baby monitor's screen, barely noticeable at first. The mother, Rebecca, glanced at it briefly, attributing it to a minor glitch in the system. But then, as if a veil had been lifted, the audio crackled with static, and a soft voice, almost a whisper, murmured, "SHHH, go back to sleep." A chill coursed through Rebecca's veins, freezing her in place. Her heart raced as she rushed to her son Samuel's room, dread gripping her chest. To her horror, the crib stood empty, a haunting void in the dimly lit nursery. The window remained shut, the door securely locked. The only anomaly was a plush rabbit lying on the floor, its unblinking black eyes fixed on her, seeming to hold a secret within its gaze. In a frenzy of panic and disbelief, Rebecca's screams pierced the night, tearing through the silence until her voice was raw and hoarse. The neighbors, stirred by her distress, phoned for help, and soon emergency services descended upon the scene. They found Rebecca huddled on the nursery floor, clutching the stuffed rabbit, her world shattered by the inexplicable disappearance of her 4-month-old son. As the investigation unfolded, baffling mysteries emerged. There were no signs of forced entry, no alarms triggered in the night. The baby monitor footage, aside from the eerie voice and static, revealed nothing out of the ordinary. How could someone enter a locked home, snatch a child, and vanish without a trace, leaving behind only a stuffed toy as a haunting reminder of the unthinkable? Suspicion darkened the air, casting a shadow over Rebecca. Her husband, Daniel, absent on business during the night of Samuel's disappearance, returned to a fractured reality. Strained by the weight of their shared loss and hidden struggles, their marriage teetered on the edge of collapse. Medical records whispered of Rebecca's battles with postpartum depression, painting a fragile portrait of a mother caught in a storm of emotions. Yet a glimmer of hope flickered in the darkness when forensic experts uncovered microscopic fibers on the nursery windowsill, a thread linking the unknown intruder to a world beyond their own. The fibers of a rare climbing rope hinted at a skilled trespasser scaling the walls to reach the second-story nursery. The focus shifted from Rebecca to the shadows lurking in the night, to a figure moving with purposeful intent. Daniel, returning to a house haunted by absence, found himself ensnared in the web of suspicion. Unusual calluses on his hands, remnants of a newfound passion for rock climbing, raised questions. Financial records whispered of hidden motives, of a life insurance policy taken out on Samuel's life. Dark secrets unraveled as the truth clawed its way to the surface. A revelation emerged from the depths of the investigation. The baby monitor, a silent witness to the night's events, held the key to unlocking the truth. Hacked and manipulated, its signal twisted to deceive, it led investigators to a chilling discovery in a forgotten basement. There, cradled in the arms of a woman named Elaine, Samuel was found, a beacon of hope in a sea of shadows. Elaine, a ghost from Daniel's past, harbored a grief that festered into obsession, a longing for the child that fate had denied her. Through a web of deceit and betrayal, she and Daniel conspired to rewrite their past, to seize what they believed was rightfully theirs. But the echoes of their sins reverberated through the digital realm, exposing their web of lies. In the hushed courtroom, the truth unfurled like a dark flower, petals of deception falling away to reveal the raw core of the matter. The whispered voice from the baby monitor, once a harbinger of fear, now bore the weight of truth. And in that truth, Daniel's cough, a damning echo of his presence in the night he claimed to have forgotten. Justice, swift and unyielding, cast its judgment upon the guilty, as Rebecca and Samuel sought solace in a new beginning, far from the shadows of the past. The baby monitor, a silent sentinel of the night, remained a silent witness to the darkness that had briefly engulfed their lives. And in its unblinking gaze, Rebecca found a bittersweet reminder of the price of truth, of the fragile dance between security and vulnerability in a world where even the whispers of the night can hold untold secrets. Story 7. The parcel arrived without a return address, without a traceable code. Just a plain cardboard box, slightly damp with morning dew. It wasn't meant for her. Her address was correct, but the name was a mismatch. She should have disregarded it, should have left it untouched on the doorstep. Yet curiosity prevailed. She tore off the tape, anticipating books, clothes, something innocuous. Instead, nestled within was a VHS tape, accompanied by a solitary sticky note. Watch alone. Sarah Miller gazed at the dark plastic rectangle cradled in her hands. Its weight felt off somehow heavier than expected, as though carrying the burden of something forbidden. Her fingertips grazed the weathered edges of the tape, sensing the minute imperfections in the plastic casing. The handwritten note bore the imprint of urgency, each stroke etched with pressure, as if the writer had pressed too hard against the paper. The suburban neighborhood hummed with its usual rhythms, a distant dog barking, children's laughter floating from beyond her fence, the mechanical drone of a lawnmower slicing through the tranquil morning air. Everyday life continued, unaware of the mysterious delivery that had just transpired. Sarah brought the package inside, placing it on her kitchen counter as uncertainty crept into her thoughts. The name on the box, Daniel Woodacre, held no significance for her. In her nearly 4 years of residing in the house, she had never received mail addressed to anyone by that name. The previous occupants had been the Johnsons, an elderly couple who had relocated to be closer to their grandchildren. Curiosity and unease warred within her as she eyed her VCR, a relic kept mostly for sentimental reasons. There was something about the tape that beckoned to her enigma shrouded in worn black plastic. Against her instincts, Sarah slid the tape into the machine. Initially, static danced on the screen, white noise that gradually sharpened into clarity. A dimly lit room materialized, illuminated by a lone lamp. The camera angle was askew low, as if hastily positioned. A man occupied a wooden chair, his visage initially obscured by shadows. "My name is Daniel Whitaker," the man uttered, his voice soft yet resolute. "If you're viewing this, someone has found you, which means they will find me as well." Leaning forward, he revealed a countenance marked by sleepless nights and unwavering vigilance, sunken eyes, stubble of several days, disheveled hair. "I did not commit the crime. It is imperative that you understand that. However, they have planted evidence against me, my fingerprints, my DNA, despite never coming into contact with her." The camera wavered slightly as Daniel adjusted it, unveiling more of the sparse room, bare walls, minimal furnishings, the transient abode of an individual prepared to flee at a moment's notice. "They have fabricated everything. The official narrative will insinuate that I knew the victim, that we quarreled, that witnesses heard us in conflict. None of it holds truth. I only laid eyes on Catherine Walsh when her image flashed across the news." His voice quivered faintly. "Deceased, murdered in her own home. And yet my DNA was inexplicably present at the crime scene." Detective Eliza Ramirez scrutinized the identical VHS tape resting on her desk, the fifth one to emerge. 5 tapes, 5 distinct recipients, all bearing the same urgent message from Daniel Whitaker, a man formally identified as the prime suspect in the murder of Catherine Walsh. A man who had vanished without a trace on the day her lifeless body was uncovered. Initially, the Walsh case seemed straightforward. A young professional woman discovered strangled in her bedroom. No signs of forced entry, traces of a struggle, DNA proof pointing unequivocally to Whitaker, whose fingerprints were already in the system due to a minor past offense. Neighbors recounted spotting a man matching his description near her residence multiple times in the weeks prior. Cell phone records placed him in the vicinity on the night of the crime. A closed case. However, everything altered when the tapes began to surface. The tapes complicate matters, Detective Ramirez dictated into her recorder as she updated her case files. Whitaker is either orchestrating an elaborate deception or unveiling something far more sinister. She studied her evidence board photographs of Catherine Walsh beaming at a corporate event, crime scene images too distressing to dwell on, maps delineating the locations where the packages had been delivered, and at the core, Daniel Whitaker's driver's license photo. His gaze seemed beseeching. The investigation took a surprising turn when Ramirez unearthed that Catherine Walsh had been embroiled in a whistleblower case against her employer, PharmaCorp, a potent pharmaceutical conglomerate with governmental ties. Walsh had unearthed irregularities in their clinical trial data, evidence that they had concealed severe side effects of a new drug fast-tracked to market. She intended to testify, divulged a former colleague to Ramirez during an interview, casting furtive glances toward the door. Catherine possessed documents, evidence that executives were aware of the issues and buried them. The trial was imminent. The detective began noticing peculiar inconsistencies. The DNA evidence seemed almost too perfect, discovered in locations that defied logic for the crime. The witness testimonies concerning Whitaker appeared rehearsed, with matching language across various statements. Most disconcerting, surveillance footage from nearby structures inexplicably corrupted during the precise time frame encompassing the murder. 3 days subsequent to the tape, Sarah Miller received a second parcel. This one contained documents, clinical trial reports, internal communications, email transcripts, all originating from PharmaCorp, all bearing Catherine Walsh's digital signature, all validating her assertions. The inquiry veered. Detective Ramirez connected with recipients of the other tapes, reconstructing Whitaker's breadcrumb trail. He had been employed in IT security for a contractor servicing PharmaCorp systems. He had never crossed paths with Catherine, but he had noticed her name flagged in an atypical security protocol he was not meant to access. They were surveilling her, Whitaker elucidated in a subsequent tape that emerged. I observed the surveillance directives in the system. They were aware she was amassing evidence. And then I found myself locked out of the network. The subsequent day, she was slain, and inexplicably, I was implicated as the perpetrator. The case unraveled when Sarah Miller discerned a detail on her copy of the tape that had eluded others. A reflection in a window behind Whitaker displayed a row of storage units. Collaborating with Detective Ramirez, they pinpointed the locale. Within Unit 217, they uncovered everything. Daniel Whitaker's journal chronicling the conspiracy, the original files Catherine had amassed, and most damningly, intricate schemes to frame Whitaker, inscribed in the handwriting of PharmaCorp's head of security, a former police detective with access to evidence collection procedures. Justice was not served through a dramatic arrest, but through the steady accumulation of irrefutable evidence. 3 executives faced indictments. The head of security confessed, agreeing to testify against his employers. The drug was withdrawn from consideration for market release. Daniel Whitaker emerged from seclusion, emaciated and altered by his time as a fugitive. The charges against him were dismissed, but the ordeal had left an enduring mark on him. Sarah Miller encountered him once when he arrived to retrieve his tape. They conversed briefly on her porch, the very spot where his package had first materialized. "Why me?" she inquired. "Why send it to my address?" He regarded her with weary eyes. "The algorithm selected you. I necessitated individuals with no ties to me or Catherine, individuals who would not be under surveillance, individuals who might retain faith in their own discernment despite the media branding me as guilty." The former suspect and the inadvertent witness stood in silence, pondering how fragile the boundary between justice and manufactured falsehoods could be. Sarah eventually voiced, the incorrect address turned out to be precisely the correct one. The VHS tapes were logged into evidence, tangible reminders that sometimes the truth arrives in unexpected packages, bearing unfamiliar names, awaiting someone curious enough to delve within. Story 8. Once upon a time, a mysterious package arrived in the mail of a quiet suburban neighborhood. The homeowner, Sarah Miller, found a single brass key inside, wrapped in a plain envelope with no return address. The key was worn with time, its origins unknown. As Sarah tried it in every lock she owned, not a single one turned. It seemed the key belonged to a place she didn't know. Yet when she placed it on her coffee table, the old grandfather clock in the hallway chimed a single, hollow note despite being broken for years. Curiosity and unease led Sarah to report the strange occurrence to the authorities. What began as a mere oddity soon unfurled into a chilling criminal investigation that would shake the foundation of the neighborhood. The responding officer, at first, brushed off Sarah's concerns, attributing the key's arrival to a simple mistake. But Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. Reluctantly, the officer took the key as evidence, placing it in a small evidence bag that would later hold significant weight in a sprawling investigation. Detective Robert Harmon, a seasoned investigator with a keen sense for cases that transcended their benign beginnings, received the case file. The brass key sat on his desk, seemingly ordinary yet exuding a sense of disquiet. Background checks on Sarah revealed nothing suspicious. She was a retired high school English teacher, a widow with no criminal history, her life seemingly devoid of any dark shadows. Forensic analysis found only Sarah's fingerprints on the key, and the envelope revealed no clues except for a generic postmark. The key, a standard Schlage, showed signs of age and wear, hinting at a storied past. The breakthrough came when Detective Harmon decided to delve deeper, running the key's unique bidding pattern through the department database. A cold case from 7 years ago resurfaced, linking the key to a storage unit where gruesome evidence had been found: blood-stained carpet, cutting tools, and photographs of unidentified women. The original investigation had hit a dead end, lacking the necessary evidence to bring a suspect to light. Harmon pored over the old case files, realizing the potential gravity of the situation. Further investigation led to Harold Jenkins, a former neighbor of Sarah's who seemed to have vanished without a trace years ago. Clues pointed to him as the potential sender of the key, a man with a shadowed past that had evaded scrutiny for far too long. As the search for Jenkins intensified, the true horror of the case began to unfurl. Hidden beneath the floorboards of a remote cabin registered to Jenkins' deceased mother, investigators unearthed a chilling secret: dozens of brass keys, each with a name and date engraved on a small tag. Some keys corresponded to the women in the photographs, while others hinted at more victims yet to be discovered. The revelation sent shockwaves through the community, and a manhunt for Jenkins ensued. The press dubbed him the Keymaster, a moniker that struck fear into the hearts of many. The hunt for Jenkins spanned nationwide, with authorities racing against time to prevent further tragedy. The investigation took a dark turn as forensic teams uncovered human remains buried behind the cabin, each body a testament to the horrors Jenkins had wrought. As the manhunt reached its climax, Jenkins was cornered in a remote wilderness where a final confrontation led to his demise. His journal, discovered beside him, contained chilling confessions of his crimes, along with a single brass key identical to the one Sarah had received. The evidence uncovered painted a harrowing picture of a man consumed by darkness, preying on the unsuspecting. In the aftermath, 32 victims were identified, bringing closure to families who had long agonized over missing loved ones. Sarah, forever changed by the ordeal, never returned to her home, haunted by the realization of how close she had come to the darkness that lurked in her midst. The grandfather clock's mysterious chime was revealed to be a sinister act of surveillance, a cruel reminder of Jenkins' sick game. The case stands as a stark reminder of the evil that can hide behind a facade of normalcy, leaving scars that may never fully heal. And in that evidence locker, the silent testimony of a collection of brass keys serves as a chilling reminder of lives lost and a truth too terrible to comprehend. Story 9, the age department exuded a sense of history with its creaking heating system and rattling pipes, all familiar sounds to her, or so she thought until that moment. A voice, barely audible yet unmistakable, drifted through the vents. It wasn't the typical background noise of a neighbor's conversation. It was a whisper calling out her name. Intrigued and slightly unnerved, she leaned in closer, her heart beating rapidly. A sudden rush of icy air brushed against her cheek, followed by a soft, almost teasing utterance. I know you can hear me." Detective Morgan Shaw stood in the midst of the empty apartment, her focus locked onto the rusted vent cover pried open from the wall. The forensic team meticulously combed through the area, capturing every detail with their cameras. The missing woman, Alina Reeves, had been absent for a week before the foul odor caught the attention of the building manager. What they uncovered within the ventilation system defied logical explanation. She mentioned hearing voices through the vents, Officer Patel relayed, reading from his notes. The building management dismissed her claims, attributing it to the old heating system's peculiar noises. Kneeling by the vent, Shaw observed the scratch marks surrounding it. These marks weren't made by tools, she mused quietly. The deep, frantic gouges indicated a desperate attempt to pry the cover from the inside. Alina was a beloved figure, a kindergarten teacher with a radiant smile and thriving houseplants adorning her windowsill. Her absence had triggered concern among her students and family. Her sister, in an emotional interview, disclosed Alina's growing paranoia in the days leading to her disappearance. She was convinced someone was watching her, speaking to her through the vents, her sister revealed, voice trembling. "I thought it was just work stress." Surveying the apartment anew, Shaw noticed peculiar details: the meticulously made bed, the unwashed coffee mug, and a chair strategically placed beneath the vent, as though someone had been seated there, listening intently. As the forensic report unveiled more unsettling findings, fibers matching Alina's cardigan caught in the vent, an unidentified fingerprint on the inside of the cover, Shaw's intuition heightened. Listening to the chilling audio recordings from Alina's phone in her car, rain drumming on the roof, Shaw heard Alina's voice, trembling with fear. "If you're real, say something." A prolonged silence preceded a faint whisper that made Shaw shudder. "Elena, sweet Elena, let me in." Delving into the building's history, Shaw uncovered a disturbing pattern. Previous tenants had abruptly vacated, citing strange noises and even hallucinations of voices from the vents. Harold Weber, the long-serving building superintendent, raised suspicions with his composed demeanor, except when asked about apartment 4B's former occupants. The investigation took a sharp turn when a concealed access panel was found in Alina's bathroom, leading to a hidden maintenance passage intertwining the building's walls. Within this passage lay evidence of an intruder, personal effects, leftovers, and signs of prolonged habitation. Someone had been lurking within the walls, watching, listening, whispering. A search of Weber's apartment uncovered a meticulously organized collection of audio recordings, photographs, and writings detailing his disturbing obsession with Alina. His storage unit revealed mementos from past tenants, preserved like trophies of his voyeuristic conquests. Weber's arrest was met with a serene acceptance, his cryptic words hinting at a haunting connection to the building itself. The coroner's findings painted a harrowing picture of Alina's final moments, drugged and disoriented. She had unwittingly ventured into the ventilation system, enticed by the whispers of safety within. Families of previous tenants shared similar accounts of paranoia and missing belongings, unveiling a long-standing reign of terror orchestrated by Weber. During the trial, Weber's facade of calm cracked only briefly, his attorney invoking insanity while the prosecution presented a meticulous narrative of premeditated actions. The jury swiftly reached a unanimous guilty verdict, yet Weber's chilling parting words to Shaw echoed ominously. "They'll still hear me. The building remembers. The whispers never stop." Today, the once vacant apartment building stands silent, despite renovations and new ownership. Residents whisper of eerie sounds from the vents, chilling whispers in the walls, and inexplicable drafts carrying spectral voices. The groans of the heating system and the rattling pipes continue, dismissed as mere echoes of the past, or so they reassure themselves. Story 10. The tale began innocently enough, wrapped in the guise of a simple renovation project. Michael and Sarah Klein, the new occupants of the Victorian-era home, believed the peeling wallpaper in the master bedroom was a mere cosmetic issue. Little did they know that each layer they peeled back would unveil a chilling mystery that had remained hidden for decades. As they delicately removed the damaged wallpaper, a name started to emerge beneath the surface, a name repeated endlessly in ink, as if etched with urgency and desperation. Eleanor Winters, the name whispered through the walls, haunting the space with its enigmatic presence. It was a name unknown to the Kleins, absent from any historical records or property documents. Intrigued and unsettled by this discovery, Michael and Sarah delved deeper into the mystery. A search online yielded a single result, an archived article detailing the disappearance of a woman named Eleanor Winters, whose striking resemblance to the previous homeowner, Margaret Cavendish, sent shivers down their spines. The more they uncovered, the more entangled they became in the web of secrets woven within the walls of their newfound abode. Margaret Cavendish, the elegant woman who had sold them the house, had a hidden past intertwined with the enigmatic Eleanor Winters, a past fraught with unanswered questions and lingering shadows. Their evenings were no longer spent on renovations, but on unraveling the threads of a cold case that had long been forgotten. The house itself seemed to whisper cryptic clues, drawing them deeper into a mystery that defied time and logic. Forensic teams descended upon the property, unearthing secrets buried beneath the garden soil. The truth, long concealed, emerged in the form of skeletal remains belonging to Eleanor Winters, a grim revelation that sent shockwaves through the community. But the true heart of the mystery lay within the walls of the house, where a tale of obsession and fractured identities unfolded. Rebecca Eldridge, a psychiatric patient with a dark past, had assumed the persona of Eleanor Winters, blurring the lines between reality and illusion in a desperate attempt to maintain control. As the pieces of the puzzle fell into place, the Kleins stood witness to a story as chilling as the whisper of the wind through the old Victorian home. The walls themselves bore witness to a tragedy long forgotten, their very foundation etched with the confessions of a fractured mind. And so, the house that once beckoned with its charm and character became a silent accomplice to a long-buried crime, a place where the past bled into the present in a haunting symphony of whispered secrets and restless spirits. As the moon cast its gentle glow over the historic residence, Michael and Sarah found themselves lulled into a peaceful slumber, the mystery of the house weaving through their dreams like a ghostly lullaby, guiding them into the realm of sleep where truth and fiction intertwined in a tapestry of whispers and shadows. Story 11. The old Polaroid held secrets within its faded borders, a relic of a distant memory captured in time. Among the familiar scenes of joy and laughter, a hidden figure lurked in the shadows, unnoticed by all but the vigilant eye of Sarah Winters. When Sarah inherited a box of forgotten photographs from her mother's attic, she stumbled upon a chilling discovery that would unravel a sinister mystery veiled in the guise of cherished family gatherings. The images, labeled simply memories, beckoned her to delve into a past that was not as idyllic as it seemed. In the first snapshot, a faint silhouette lingered at the periphery, a spectral presence at her childhood birthday party. With each subsequent photo, the mysterious figure drew closer, its intentions shrouded in darkness. No one in the pictures acknowledged its existence, yet its ominous proximity sent shivers down Sarah's spine. Desperate for answers, Sarah turned to her father, hoping to unveil the identity of the enigmatic stranger haunting their cherished memories. But his bewildered response only deepened the mystery, leaving Sarah to confront the unsettling truth alone. Determined to unravel the enigma, she sought the help of Detective Marcus Reed, a seasoned investigator with a keen eye for the uncanny. As rain tapped softly against the precinct windows, Sarah laid out the evidence before Detective Reed, each photo a piece of a cryptic puzzle. The detective's gaze lingered on the shadowy figure, a sense of foreboding creeping into the room. Together, they traced the phantom's progression through the gatherings, a chilling dance through time captured in frozen moments. With each revelation, the truth emerged like a specter from the shadows. The figure in the photos bore a haunting resemblance to a long-forgotten suspect in a series of cold cases involving missing children. Robert Keller, a maintenance worker with a sinister past, had left a trail of darkness that intersected with Sarah's own childhood memories. The investigation unearthed buried secrets and shattered illusions, revealing a web of deceit woven through the fabric of innocent celebrations. As the pieces fell into place, a grim reality emerged. The shadow in the photos was a harbinger of tragedy, a phantom of the past haunting the present. In a quiet moment of solitude, Sarah reflected on the revelations that had reshaped her perception of the past. The closure brought by the investigation was bittersweet, offering solace to grieving families while casting a pall over the innocence of bygone days. The hidden figure had been unmasked, its malevolent presence laid bare for all to see. As she carefully returned the photos to their box, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, of unseen eyes lingering in the shadows of her memories. The truth had been revealed, but the echoes of the past whispered of secrets best left undisturbed, of hidden figures that moved unseen through the corridors of time, leaving behind only a faint imprint on the surface of reality. Story 12. The tale begins in a quaint costume shop as it prepares to close its doors for good, offering its old wares to eager buyers. Among the fading treasures, a woman's eyes are drawn to a mask resting on a dusty shelf. Its delicate features hold an eerie lifelike quality that both captivates and unsettles her. Placing it on the counter, the cashier hesitates, his voice barely above a whisper, "That's not ours." Bewildered, the woman checks for a tag, finding none. With a nonchalant shrug, she decides to take the mysterious mask home with her. That fateful night, she is roused from her slumber by a soft rustling, a whisper of fabric shifting in the darkness. To her astonishment, the mask is no longer perched on the dresser where she had left it. Instead, it now rests ominously on her nightstand, its gaze fixed upon her like a silent sentinel. The woman known as Catherine Reed is later discovered by her concerned neighbor. The front door stands ajar, allowing the first rays of morning light to pierce the veil of darkness within. What awaited inside would puzzle investigators for years to come. Detective Morgan arrives at the somber scene, where forensics meticulously document every detail. The rhythmic click of the shutters provides a haunting backdrop to the hushed conversations that fill the room. "No signs of forced entry," notes one officer, jotting down observations in his notepad. The detective's keen eyes sweep the room, noting the subtle nuances that others might overlook. A partially open drawer, a water glass with a trace of lipstick on the rim, everything appears ordinary except for the lifeless form of Catherine, forever frozen in a mask of terror. The medical examiner bends over the body, his expression grave as he admits the cause of death eludes initial inspection. No visible wounds, no signs of struggle. Gesturing towards Catherine's face, he points out the stark expression of fear etched into her features. Leaning in closer, the detective whispers, something frightened her to her very core. Catherine, a quiet soul who made her living as an art appraiser, is remembered by her colleagues as meticulous and deeply passionate about authenticity. Her boss recalls her uncanny ability to spot a forgery with a single glance, an eye for details that were out of place. The detective ponders whether this keen insight may have inadvertently led to Catherine's untimely demise. As the investigation unfolds, security footage from the costume shop unveils a perplexing revelation. The cashier's genuine confusion over the mask prompts a closer inspection. The shop owner, when summoned, adamantly denies ever stocking such an item. A chilling realization dawns as it becomes apparent that the mask's origins are shrouded in mystery. Delving deeper, the detective uncovers a disturbing pattern linking Catherine's death to a series of similar cases stretching back decades. Each victim had come into possession of an enigmatic mask shortly before meeting their tragic end, their faces etched with unbridled terror. The mystery remains unsolved, a haunting enigma that defies logical explanation. A retired detective, seasoned by past encounters with such inexplicable occurrences, shares a revelation. In a dimly lit room, he discloses a hidden truth, ancient symbols inscribed within each mask, hinting at a ritual involving the transference of souls. A journal discovered in Catherine's home sheds further light on her harrowing experiences, detailing a chilling account of the mask's malevolent presence. The pieces of the puzzle begin to coalesce as forensic analysis uncovers microscopic fibers embedded in Catherine's fingertips, a peculiar blend of human hair and an unidentified organic substance. The investigation leads to a grim revelation of a sinister entity lurking behind the facade of the mask, preying on unsuspecting souls. The truth behind Catherine's demise is finally unraveled when the medical examiner confirms the cause of death as cardiac arrest induced by sheer terror. But what unseen force could evoke such paralyzing fear that it halts a beating heart in its tracks? The investigation takes a chilling turn as surveillance footage captures a figure emerging from Catherine's residence, donning a mask that mirrors her likeness but moves with an uncanny mechanical precision. The search for the elusive mask intensifies, but it eludes capture, slipping into the shadows to await its next unwitting victim. Months later, reports surface of a peculiar mask surfacing in a vintage shop across the country, only to vanish into obscurity once more. The enigma persists, leaving the case officially unresolved. The detective, haunted by the specter of the mask's malevolence, keeps Catherine's journal as a grim reminder of the dark truth that lurks beyond the confines of rationality. As night descends, a shroud of unease settles over the detective, a lingering sensation of being watched. She secures her surroundings, mindful of the mask's insidious nature, a vessel hungry for souls, traversing through time in an unending cycle of terror. Somewhere out there, the mask lies in wait, biding its time until it finds its next unsuspecting host, its empty eyes fixed on the darkness, hungry for what lies beyond. Story 13. She glided through the front entrance, a gentle breeze stirring the dust in the stagnant air. The abandoned house stood frozen in time, its walls shedding layers of paint, its furniture draped in ghostly sheets. Each step she took felt like a dance with the past, a waltz through echoes of memories long forgotten except for one peculiar detail. The doors, no matter which path she chose, each door beckoned her back to the parlor as if caught in a mystical loop. Every twist of a handle, every turn of a knob only led her back to where she started. The only escape remained the way she had come in, but as she turned around, the front door had vanished into thin air. The mysterious aura of the abandoned Victorian house deepened when the lifeless form of Morgan Pierce was discovered, transforming the once forgotten mansion into a chilling crime scene. Detective Sarah Lynn stood at the threshold, observing the shadowy figures of forensic experts moving silently through the dimly lit rooms. The house had earned a reputation among the locals, a place where compasses spun wildly, where whispers of being watched lingered in the air. Now it held secrets far more sinister than mere tales of the supernatural. The preliminary examination suggests she's been deceased for approximately 3 days, the medical examiner murmured, his words barely audible in the quiet space. The cause of death appears to be asphyxiation. Morgan had been found seated in an antique chair in the parlor, her posture serene, hands folded neatly in her lap as if awaiting a guest. There were no signs of struggle, no marks of a fight. The scene exuded a haunting tranquility that unsettled even the most seasoned investigators. "Who discovered the body?" Lind inquired, her gaze fixed on her partner. "A real estate agent showing the property to potential buyers," came the reply. "They stumbled upon her seated there, mistaking her for a trespasser until they drew closer." The house had remained vacant since the passing of its previous owner, Eleanor Blackwood, nearly half a decade ago. Legal disputes had left the property in a state of abandonment, unwanted, unsold, and fading from memory, except for the occasional intrusion by vandals and thrill-seekers. Morgan Pierce, a 26-year-old graduate student delving into architectural enigmas for her thesis, had been captivated by the house's reputation for disorienting those who dared to enter. Described by friends as meticulous, driven, and intrigued by spaces that defied traditional norms, she had been lured by the enigma of the abandoned Victorian. Her roommate reported her missing 2 days prior, Lind noted, scanning through her notes. Morgan had mentioned visiting the house where people get lost for her research. The investigation unveiled Morgan's repeated visits to the house in the weeks leading up to her demise. Her journal entries chronicled peculiar acoustic phenomena, sudden drops in temperature, and doors that seemed to open into different rooms with each turn of the handle. In her final entry, she spoke of bringing specialized equipment to capture what she referred to as spatial anomalies. Yet, that equipment remained nowhere to be found. During the autopsy, an unexpected revelation emerged: traces of a rare alkaloid in Morgan's system, derived from a plant used in select shamanic practices. While the substance was known to induce disorientation and vivid visions, the amounts found in her body were insufficient to be lethal. She was not one to indulge in recreational substances, her boyfriend affirmed during interrogation. Morgan adhered strictly to her research principles. She would not have jeopardized her faculties deliberately. Digital sleuthing unearthed fragments of deleted messages on Morgan's phone, exchanges with an individual who shared her fascination with the mysterious house, someone who professed to grasp its hidden truths. The conversations grew increasingly intimate and cryptic. "The house retains the echoes of its past," one message alluded. "It yearns for someone to comprehend." The trail led detectives to Adam Reeves, an expert in architectural history who had engaged in correspondence with Morgan. His knowledge of rare spatial phenomena had captivated her interest. their professional rapport evolving into a more personal connection. When questioned, Reeves appeared genuinely distraught by Morgan's demise. "The house carries a legacy," he elucidated. "The original architect wove optical illusions and deceptive perspectives into its structure. It was designed to bewilder and confuse. Morgan suspected there was a deeper layer to it, something transcending mere architectural tricks." However, Reeves could provide a solid alibi for the estimated time of Morgan's passing, with security footage corroborating his presence at a university symposium miles away. A breakthrough materialized from an unexpected source: Alina Blackwood's grandson, now residing overseas. Contacted by investigators, he divulged a family secret that had lain buried for generations. "My grandmother was not the sole Blackwood to meet their end in that house," he disclosed. "Others followed, always discovered in the parlor, always in a state of serenity. The family termed it the beckoning." He furnished journals dating back decades, chronicling deaths initially attributed to natural causes like heart failure or strokes. The recurring pattern was evident: individuals who spent prolonged periods within the house eventually succumbed to what the family euphemistically referred to as the influence. A secondary sweep of the property unveiled a concealed compartment behind the parlor's hearth. Within this hidden enclave, investigators stumbled upon Morgan's missing equipment alongside a cryptic ensemble. An array of artifacts from diverse indigenous cultures was meticulously arranged in a precise geometrical formation. At the center lay a weathered figurine, its features smoothed by generations of touch. Analysis identified the figurine as a representation of a deity associated with liminal realms, thresholds between worlds. Traces of the alkaloid discovered in Morgan's system were detected on the artifacts. The case took a chilling turn when forensic analysis of dust patterns within the house indicated the presence of another individual during Morgan's passing. Partial fingerprints, distinct from Morgan's or any documented visitors, were lifted from doorknobs scattered throughout the residence. 3 weeks into the inquiry, Adam Reeves was found deceased in his residence. Mirroring Morgan's posture, he sat facing the entrance, a serene expression gracing his features, the same alkaloid detected in his system. Clutched in his hand was a key that matched no lock within his apartment, but seamlessly fit into the concealed compartment within the Victorian. In his final missive, sent to himself in a poignant testament, Reeves inscribed, "The house does not ensnare you physically, it ensnares your perception." Morgan was correct: the doors lead where they have always led, but something deceives you into believing you are trapped in a loop. Once the truth dawns upon you, you can depart at will, yet by that juncture the desire to leave dissipates. The case remains officially unresolved, catalogued as suspicious deaths under ongoing scrutiny. The Victorian has since been condemned, its access restricted by authorities. Nevertheless, whispers persist of ethereal lights flickering within on certain evenings, and of guests who venture inside but never emerge. Some locals contend that the house claims those who delve too deeply into its enigmas. Others maintain that Morgan and Reeves unearthed a force ancient and potent, one existing within the interstices of conventional reality. The veracity remains as elusive as an exit in a house where every doorway leads back to the beginning. Story 14. Worn envelope, aged and yellowed, bore a fresh stamp, a recent journey through the postal system. Delicately, the detective unfolded its contents. A single sheet of paper greeted her, the words typed in haste, the letters uneven on the page. "I am sorry for what I did." The paper felt damp to the touch, a faint scent of iron lingering in the air. It was only when she observed the reddish smear along the bottom edge that Detective Sarah Morgan's suspicions deepened. It was not ink staining the paper. Carefully, she placed the letter into an evidence bag, her gloved hands moving with practiced precision. The forensics team had confirmed her fears. The reddish stain was human blood, its DNA matching a cold case involving the unsolved murder of a young journalist named Rebecca Warren. Found in her apartment with multiple stab wounds, Rebecca's story had haunted the department for years. Her laptop missing, notes scattered a tale of a life cut short in pursuit of the truth. The arrival of the letter at the police department, addressed simply to Homicide Division, breathed new life into a dormant investigation. Few fingerprints adorned the paper and envelope, only faint smudges hinting at gloved hands. The postmark offered a glimmer of hope, a thread to follow. Morgan gathered her team in the dimly lit briefing room, the walls adorned with the ghosts of past crimes. Crime scene photos, timelines, suspect profiles, all leading to dead ends. She pinned the letter at the heart of the board, a puzzle piece in a larger mystery. "This changes everything," she uttered softly, the weight of the words hanging in the air. "Our killer shows remorse." Detective James Chen, her steadfast partner, studied the letter intently. "Or a facade," he countered, a shadow of doubt in his voice. The blood could be a cruel performance, a twisted game. The typewriter's unique impression patterns led the team on a chase through time, a relic from decades past. Rare but not beyond reach, antique shops and collectors became the focus of their search, each lead a step closer to the truth. As the investigation gained traction, Rebecca's life unfolded before them. A tenacious journalist dedicated to exposing corruption, her final story entangled in a web of deceit. A wealthy family, a patriarch's death, and a will shrouded in darkness. The editor's words painted a picture of a fierce soul unafraid to confront the shadows. Michael Barnes, Rebecca's boyfriend, once a pillar of support, now a figure in the shadows. The letter's arrival unraveled hidden truths, subtle shifts in his demeanor betraying unspoken secrets. She spoke of being followed, his voice quivered, a confession wrapped in fear. I dismissed her words as paranoia, a fatal mistake. A second letter arrived, echoing the first in its macabre tale. The family secrets spilled onto the canvas of the investigation, a mansion holding more than memories. The eldest son, Richard, a man of polished words and hidden motives, emerged as a key player in the deadly game. Vintage typewriters, antiques whispering of days gone by, held the secrets of the past. Eleanor, the youngest daughter, her custom stationery, a damning link in the chain. Richard's faux deck crumbled under the weight of evidence, his carefully constructed world unraveling. Surveillance photos, newspaper clippings, and obsession turned deadly. The truth emerged in whispers and shadows, a tapestry woven in blood and betrayal. Michael's betrayal, a pawn in a game of power and greed. The recording, a damning testimony to a pact sealed in whispers. Richard's voice, cold and calculating, sealed his fate. In the hushed courtroom, justice unfolded, a dance of light and shadows. Richard's protestations of innocence shattered against the rock of evidence, the jury's verdict swift and final. Detective Morgan, a silent sentinel in the storm, offered solace to Rebecca's grieving parents. Closure, a fragile gift in the face of unbearable loss. The blood-stained letters, locked away in evidence, whispered a chilling truth, a reminder that even the darkest secrets cast a long shadow. The case of Rebecca Warren, a cautionary tale in the annals of detective work, a testament to the power of guilt and the unraveling of carefully laid plans. The old typewriter, a silent witness to a tale of remorse and retribution, a lullaby of justice in the dead of night. Story 15, the apartment lay silent, untouched by life for months before the new tenants arrived, unaware of the secrets it held within its walls. Dust settled like a hushed whisper, shrouding forgotten corners and hidden memories. As they settled in, the tenants anticipated only the mundane, a bit of cleaning, perhaps some abandoned furniture left behind. But one door stood stubbornly closed, resisting their gentle nudges. It was a closet, its secrets locked away from prying eyes, a mystery waiting to be unraveled. When the landlord finally forced the door open, a sense of unease crept into the room. The tenants braced themselves for the sight of old coats or scattered belongings. Instead, they were met with a chilling discovery. The walls of the closet bore witness to a silent struggle, a desperate plea etched in deep, uneven scratches upon the wood. Each mark told a story of fear and confinement, of someone fighting against the confines of their prison. In the dim corner, an ancient flip phone lay forgotten, its screen still faintly illuminated by a single unread message. Detective Morgan Shaw, a seasoned investigator with a keen eye for the unsaid, felt a shiver dance down her spine at the sight. It wasn't the presence of blood or violence that unsettled her, but the silent screams echoed in those scratch marks, a silent cry for help, a tale of captivity and despair. Turning to her partner, Officer Reed, Shaw's voice was a whisper in the stillness of the room. "We need forensics here now," she said, her gaze fixed on the haunting marks, "and gather the records of the previous tenants." The message on the phone, stark against the darkness of the closet, simply stated, "I know what you did." The landlord, a man with nervous hands and averted eyes, spoke of the previous tenant, a young woman, quiet and unassuming, who had vanished without a trace, leaving behind unpaid rent. "She kept to herself," he murmured, his gaze flickering away from the closet. "Never caused any trouble." As forensics delved into the shadows of the apartment, a sinister tale began to unfold. Blood samples embedded in the scratches on the walls painted a grim picture, one of struggle and suffering. Most matched a single individual, presumed to be the missing tenant, Emma Caldwell. However, two other DNA samples emerged, one a mystery, the other belonging to a man long declared dead. Shaw's brow furrowed in confusion as she studied the forensic report. Derek Mercer, a man supposedly deceased in a tragic accident, now left fresh traces of his existence in the confines of the closet. Emma's life, frozen in time within the apartment, revealed a story of interrupted routines and unanswered phone calls, a gradual descent into the shadows, marked by the presence of an unknown caller and a mysterious boyfriend. As the pieces of the puzzle began to align, a sinister pattern emerged. Emma's fate intertwined with that of another missing woman, Lynette Porter, whose ghostly presence lingered in the shadows of the investigation. Shaw connected the dots, tracing a web of deception and control woven by Derek Mercer, a man driven by a twisted desire for power and domination. Surveillance footage captured the chilling moments leading to Emma's disappearance, shadows dancing on the edge of the frame, a man in a baseball cap, a silent figure lurking in the darkness. The revelation of Mercer's fingerprints on the closet doorknob marked a turning point in the investigation, unveiling a dark truth hidden beneath layers of deceit. The trail led Shaw and her team to a secluded property, a place steeped in shadows and echoes of past horrors. Behind heavy doors, they uncovered Lynette Porter, alive yet broken, a living testament to Mercer's cruelty and obsession. Her whispered words echoed in the silence, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurked within the human soul. Journals filled with Mercer's twisted fantasies, photographs capturing the fear in his victims' eyes, and video recordings of Emma's final moments painted a portrait of a man consumed by his own darkness. The manhunt for Derek Mercer spanned across boundaries, a race against time to stop a predator who thrived on the suffering of others. When Mercer was finally apprehended, a sense of relief washed over the investigators, tempered by the knowledge of the horrors he had inflicted. In the quiet of the interrogation room, his calm demeanor sent shivers down their spines, an unsettling contrast to the atrocities he had committed. The trial laid bare Mercer's elaborate charade, a facade of death and rebirth crafted to evade justice. Emma's fate, sealed within the confines of the closet, remained a haunting mystery, a life snuffed out in the shadows, a voice silenced by the darkness. As the gavel fell, sealing Mercer's fate with a life sentence, a sense of closure descended upon the courtroom. Lynette Porter's words, a beacon of resilience in the face of darkness, echoed through the halls, a promise of light after the long night of terror. The investigation left its mark on Shaw, a reminder of the fragility of life and the darkness that lurked beneath the surface. The closet door, a silent witness to Emma's final moments, hung in her office, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of unspeakable horrors. And as the shadows of the past faded into memory, a sense of peace settled over the once silent apartment, a sanctuary reclaimed from the darkness. Story 16, the vacant house held a silent secret, untouched by time. For years it stood abandoned, its walls echoing with the absence of life. Whispers from the neighbors spoke of a young woman who had vanished, leaving behind a mystery that lingered in the air like a haunting melody. When the new tenants crossed the threshold, a sense of unease wrapped around them like a heavy shroud. The bedroom, once locked from within, yielded to their curiosity. Inside, the stillness was palpable, the air thick with the weight of neglect. The bed was neatly made, untouched by human hands. The mirror reflected a world devoid of movement, wiped clean of memories. A solitary candle stood as a sentinel of time, its wax a frozen testimony to solitude and abandonment. But it was the notebook that beckoned, its pages whispering a tale long forgotten. Detective Morgan, a shadow in the dim light, traced the words of Elise Winters, a name lost to the winds of time. Her script danced across the paper, a silent witness to her existence until the ink pressed with urgency, leaving behind a plea for help in the darkness. "I know he's watching me tonight," the words echoed in the stillness. A chilling realization crept through the room, a sense of foreboding that refused to be silenced. The detective closed the notebook, its secrets sealed within its pages. The scent of dust and something more lingered, a faint echo of a presence long gone. The landlord, a ghostly figure in the doorway, whispered of forgotten checks and locked doors that should have been opened. Elise's life unfolded in the shadows of the investigation, a paralegal with a keen eye for deception, a soul burdened by the weight of truth. In the quiet of the room, her absence spoke volumes, a silence that echoed louder than words. The search for answers led to hidden truths buried beneath floorboards and locked safes. A web of deceit unraveled, revealing a tapestry of corruption and greed. Elise's voice, a beacon in the darkness, exposed the lies that had festered in the heart of power. As the pieces fell into place, a figure emerged from the shadows, a man of influence, a puppeteer of fate. Vincent Harriman, his facade crumbling, faced the reckoning of his sins. The room whispered of justice, of a life taken too soon but not in vain. The truth, like a hidden passage, unveiled itself in the most unexpected of places. The locked room, a chamber of secrets, bore witness to the unraveling of a sinister plot. In the silence of the courtroom, Elise's mother found her voice, a mother's grief transformed into a cry for justice. The emptiness of the house mirrored the void left in her heart, a testament to a life lost but not forgotten. And so the house remained a relic of the past, a silent sentinel to a story untold. The light flickered in the upstairs window, a beacon of remembrance for a young woman who dared to challenge the darkness. In the end, justice prevailed, not in the breath of the living, but in the echoes of a room that held the truth within its walls. Story 17. The tale begins in a quaint coffee shop, a place of familiar routines and comforting rituals. For years, a mysterious man frequented this establishment, his presence as consistent as the morning sun. He would claim his usual spot at a corner table, order a simple black coffee, and immerse himself in silence. The barista, a silent observer to his habits, recognized his face but remained ignorant of his identity. Then one fateful day, the man failed to appear. Concerned, the police were summoned to investigate. In his customary seat, they discovered a wallet left behind, a solitary clue to his enigmatic existence. Inside the wallet, a driver's license bore a vacant space where a name should have resided, leaving no trail to follow, no path to his true self. Detective Sarah Mercer, a woman of keen perception and unwavering determination, delved into the case with a sense of intrigue mingled with unease. The security footage revealed the man, now known as John Doe, entering the coffee shop as he had done countless times before. Nothing seemed amiss as he sat down with his coffee and notebook, the routine unfolding with eerie normalcy. But then a ripple in the fabric of reality, a moment captured by the unblinking eye of the camera. John rose from his seat, strolled towards the restroom, and vanished into the ether, leaving behind a mystery that defied explanation. Detective Mercer, her mind a labyrinth of questions, demanded a closer examination of the footage, searching for a clue, a hint of the truth obscured from view. As the investigation unfurled, the enigma only deepened. The wallet, a vessel of emptiness, held only cryptic fragments of a life erased. Credit cards without names, numbers without purpose, a business card with a silent invitation. The barista, a witness to the man's silent presence, offered sparse insights into his elusive nature, a figure on the periphery of existence, slipping through the cracks of memory. The notebook, a tapestry of enigmatic symbols and intricate codes, confounded even the most skilled cryptographers. Its pages whispered secrets of unknown worlds, of structures unseen and realities unexplored. Mercer, a seeker of truths hidden in shadows, felt the tendrils of the unknown winding around her, drawing her deeper into the mystery that defied logic and reason. A mirror, ancient and ornate, stood sentinel between worlds, its reflection a distorted echo of truth. Mercer, guided by intuition and curiosity, uncovered a hidden chamber behind the glass, a repository of lost identities, a testament to a life entwined with the fabric of time itself. The journal, a chronicle of experiments in temporal manipulation and reality bending, spoke of a man named Daniel Weston, a brilliant mind lost to the depths of an otherworldly experiment. Weston, a seeker of truths beyond the veil of reality, had crossed boundaries that were never meant to be crossed, leaving behind echoes of his existence scattered across dimensions. As the investigation spiraled into realms beyond comprehension, strange occurrences plagued the coffee shop, a dance of shadows, reflections that moved of their own volition, and whispers of a man long gone but ever present. The threads of reality began to unravel, revealing a tapestry woven with threads of fate and possibility. An elderly woman, a guardian of forgotten knowledge, emerged from the shadows of secrecy to shed light on the enigma. Margaret Keller, a keeper of forbidden truths, unraveled the mystery of Daniel Weston, a man lost to time, a ghost haunting the threshold between worlds. The final act unfolded in a crescendo of revelation and reckoning. Mercer, alone in the dim glow of the security footage, witnessed a fracture in reality, a rift where two versions of a man coexisted, a paradox made flesh. The mirror shattered, a gateway closing, a tale reaching its poignant conclusion. And so, the man who existed in the spaces between realities slipped beyond the grasp of mortal understanding, leaving behind a legacy of unanswered questions and unspoken truths. The coffee shop, a sanctuary of fleeting moments and hidden truths, faded into memory, its secrets buried beneath the rubble of time. As for Detective Mercer, she vanished into the shadows of obscurity, a seeker of truths lost in the labyrinth of her own making. Her porch, a perch for contemplation and reflection, bore witness to a silent vigil of pen scratching against paper, a mind wrestling with mysteries unsolved. And so, the story of the man who didn't exist echoes through the corridors of time, a whisper of a life lived in the spaces between worlds, a testament to the boundless depths of human curiosity and the unfathomable mysteries that lie just beyond the edge of perception. Story 18, the realtor's listing made no mention of a basement. The blueprints held no clue of its existence. Yet as the family peeled back the old carpet, a hidden door emerged, concealed from sight. A sturdy, rusty handle beckoned, requiring three of them to pry it ajar. Stale air, heavy with the aroma of damp earth, billowed out to meet them. Descending steps disappeared into darkness. Expecting storage, they were met with a solitary chair beneath a swaying light bulb. Behind it, a line of photographs of them. The Mercers had settled into their suburban abode during winter's early nightfall, when naked trees stood stark against the cold sky. The aged two-story structure, with its worn siding and creaking floors, exuded character and history, or so they thought. Little did they foresee the depth of history within those walls or its violent convergence with their present. Detective Sarah Connors arrived at the scene with her partner, the crime scene unit already sealing off the area with fluttering yellow tape. Mrs. Mercer's trembling voice had relayed the startling discovery beneath their living room floor. "We must document everything before anyone else descends," Connors directed, gloving her hands with practiced ease. Camera flashes illuminated the stairwell in sporadic bursts as the forensic team captured the eerie scene. The wooden steps groaned under their weight as they ventured down. The basement, no larger than a standard bedroom, boasted concrete walls painted a dull gray. A solitary chair anchored in the room's center. Above, the stark bulb cast harsh shadows across the space, twirling gently in an unseen breeze. Yet it was the wall of photographs that seized their attention, 37 images meticulously arranged in chronological order. "These date back almost 4 weeks," Connor's partner remarked, inspecting timestamps on the prints. "Look at this one, Mrs. Mercer asleep on the couch, Mr. Mercer at the kitchen table, the kids in their rooms." The investigation unveiled no signs of forced entry, no shattered windows or tampered locks. The security system remained undisturbed. Nothing was stolen, only privacy invaded, shattering any sense of security the family had harbored. Forensics uncovered numerous fingerprints, most belonging to past property owners. The house had changed hands 6 times in the past decade, each family departing within a year, selling at plummeting prices. None had mentioned a basement discovery. "We must interview every previous owner," Connors ordered, flipping through her notepad. The case grew more unsettling as they delved into the past. Property records revealed discrepancies, altered blueprints, filed permits retracted, redacted inspection reports. The breakthrough came with the contractor who had renovated the house 7 years prior, his complexion drained at the sight of basement photos. "That room isn't real," he insisted, hands trembling. "I gutted that place to the bones. No basement, no door, nothing beneath the living room but soil and concrete." Digital forensics unveiled a memory card within the light fixture, housing hundreds more images on their evidence boards, not only of the Mercers but of previous families. Children slumbering, parents bickering, intimate scenes, mundane routines, all captured by an unauthorized observer. The case took a sinister turn with audio files salvaged from a weatherproof box hidden in the basement corner. Voice recordings from the master bedroom, kitchen, living room. The pristine sound quality hinted at concealed microphones throughout the house, though none were found during the initial search. "We must tear down every wall," Connors urged, urgency tinging her words. "Inspect air vents, light fixtures, electrical sockets. The perpetrator has spied on these families for years." Beyond the photograph wall, investigators uncovered a narrow passage leading to a monitoring station. A desk, a chair, a laptop linked to wireless cameras, and a journal meticulously detailing each family's life within the house, their habits, schedules, quarrels, vulnerabilities. The handwriting matched that of the house's original builder, Edward Kelvin. Records indicated his demise during the house's construction, a detail growing suspect as the inquiry unfolded. No funeral arrangements. No death certificate. Edward Kelvin had vanished from public records. His journal's final entries spiraled into madness. Phrases like "they never looked down" and "they never see me" recurred. The closing page bore a chilling sentence: "The next family arrives tomorrow." Fingerprint analysis confirmed suspicions. Edward Kelvin never departed the house he erected. He had melded into its concealed recesses, crafting a network of observation points to peer upon families who believed themselves solitary. A 3-day manhunt led to his discovery curled within a crawlspace amid second-floor bedrooms, his frame slender and flexible, adapted to navigating the narrow passages he had devised within the walls. His eyes blinked against the probing flashlights, unaccustomed to direct light. During interrogation, Kelvin spoke of families as players in his private spectacle, observing them with a detached, scientific air. No contact, no theft, no direct meddling, only observation, recording, documenting. "They welcomed me," he explained to investigators, his voice gentle and rational. "They signed the papers, they became mine." A psychological evaluation diagnosed Kelvin with severe delusions, viewing himself as the house's custodian rather than an intruder. The families were but transitory guests in his perpetual abode. The Mercers never returned. Like their predecessors, they abandoned their possessions, bearing only essentials in suitcases. The house stood vacant as the legal process unfolded. The trial unveiled Kelvin's extensive surveillance network, concealed rooms accessible solely through crawlspaces, observation points woven into the structure, meticulously plotted prior to the first brick's placement. The house had been crafted as a voyeuristic contraption, its residents unwitting subjects in Kelvin's obsessive documentation. Upon the jury's verdict, Kelvin displayed no reaction. He had retreated into the recesses of his mind's architecture, where he could still traverse the house's passages unseen, now existing solely in memory. The property succumbed to demolition, its soil unearthed and refilled. Yet for those who dwelt within, the violation endured. They lingered not on what was taken, but on what they had never fathomed: surveillance, eavesdropping, recording their most intimate moments from within walls they had trusted for security. In quiet interludes, they found themselves glancing upward at air vents, light fixtures, ceiling corners. pondering if they were indeed solitary now, wondering if they ever truly were. Story 19, the mystery of the old house unfolded gradually, like a dream fading into reality. Deep within the cluttered attic, buried beneath layers of forgotten belongings, lay an old box that whispered of secrets long kept hidden. Amongst the dusty relics, faded Polaroids told tales of bygone days, birthdays, celebrations, ordinary moments frozen in time. But it was the last photograph that stirred a sense of unease in Rebecca, the current inhabitant of the house. In that final picture, taken within the familiar walls of her own living room, a family unknown to her sat smiling at the camera. Their expressions were joyful, their presence innocent, yet behind them lurked a shadow, a figure in the hallway, watching silently from the darkness. As Rebecca gazed at the photo, a chill crept up her spine, and a feeling of disquiet settled within her. Descending the creaking stairs with the unsettling image in hand, Rebecca felt the weight of the house pressing down on her, its emptiness now suffocating. Placing the photograph under the harsh glow of the kitchen light, she couldn't deny the uncanny resemblance between her home and the scene captured in the Polaroid. The same architecture, the same decor, but with a family she did not recognize. Enter Detective Morgan, a man of few words but sharp insight, clad in a worn leather jacket that whispered of past investigations. With a keen eye, he examined the photograph, delving into the history of the house and its former occupants. The pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place, revealing a pattern of disappearances that spanned years. Through meticulous detective work, a connection emerged: the Sutherland family, who had once resided in the house before vanishing without a trace. But they were not alone. Previous families had met similar fates, each one disappearing after precisely 1 year of occupancy. And at the center of it all stood a man named Samuel Whitfield, a spectral presence from the past. As the investigation deepened, the truth slowly unraveled. Beneath the house's foundation, a grim discovery awaited: the preserved remains of the missing families, hidden from the world for decades. Among their belongings, a camera bore witness to their final moments, capturing smiles that belied the lurking danger in their midst. Rebecca's world crumbled as she learned the extent of the horrors that had unfolded within the walls of her home. Fleeing to a hotel under police protection, she hoped to escape the malevolent force that had haunted the house for so long. But the specter of Samuel Whitfield loomed large, his presence felt even in his absence. And so the investigation continued, shrouded in shadows and unanswered questions. The house stood silent, a monument to unspeakable deeds, while whispers of Samuel Whitfield's elusive existence echoed through the years. In the darkness, new photographs developed, capturing unsuspecting families in their moments of bliss, unaware of the watcher in the shadows. As the night fell and the world slept, the legacy of Samuel Whitfield lived on, a mystery unsolved, a presence unseen, a reminder that some secrets are meant to remain buried in the depths of the past. And those who dared to seek the truth risked becoming mere characters in a new chapter of the house's haunted history. Story 20. The sleepy town skirted around the house nestled at the edge of the woods, a forgotten relic lost in time. It loomed solitary, shrouded in mystery, its windows staring like darkened eyes, its porch groaning under the burden of countless years gone by. No one laid claim to its ownership, no whispers carried the tale of its origins. Yet when a band of hikers strayed too close, they stumbled upon a chilling sight: names etched deep into the wooden walls, a silent chorus of warnings. And at the very bottom, freshly carved and untouched by time, a name unknown to all but one of them. a name that sent shivers down their spines as one of the hikers murmured, voice quivering, "That's mine." As night draped the forest in a cloak of shadows, a call came into dispatch, a routine report of trespassing. The voice at the other end belonged to Mason Wright, the intrepid hiker who had stumbled upon his own name engraved on the forsaken house. The responding officers anticipated nothing more than a case of teenage mischief, a prank spun among friends, but what awaited them defied all logic. Detective Sarah Keller arrived on the scene as darkness clung to the trees, her flashlight piercing through the inky blackness to reveal the weathered face of the structure. 27 names cascaded down the eastern wall, some faded with time, others sharp as if freshly carved, and among them Mason Wright, the cut still raw with the scent of fresh wood shavings. "I've never set foot here before," Mason insisted, his breath forming misty clouds in the frosty air. "I can't fathom how my name ended up here." Thus began the investigation, a deep dive into the backgrounds of each name adorning the walls. The findings sent a chill down the spines of the detective team. Each name belonged to a soul reported missing over the span of 4 decades, vanishing into the woods while hiking alone. Some cases had grown cold, while others remained open, all united by a chilling detail: their solitary disappearances in the heart of the forest. Forensic experts meticulously cataloged each carving, noting the depths, techniques, and aging patterns. The oldest name, Rebecca Hansen, tied back to a missing persons case from 37 years prior, a haunting tale of a young woman who ventured into the woods never to return, leaving behind only a single hiking boot by a babbling stream. Interrogations with Mason yielded no connections to the area beyond his recent hiking excursion with 4 college comrades. They had chosen the trail at random, guided by an online suggestion. Nothing in Mason's past hinted at links to the other names etched on that eerie wall. The focus shifted to his companions, particularly Emily Chen, the group's photographer. Upon scrutinizing the images she had captured during their hike, analysts stumbled upon a disquieting anomaly: a blurred figure haunting the background of 3 separate photographs. A figure resembling a slender, towering man, always half hidden by the gnarled branches of the forest. "Glimpsed no one else on our trek," Emily maintained. "We would have remembered." Determined to unravel the enigma, Detective Keller authorized a search of the house's interior. Amidst the desolate chambers, officers unearthed a chilling tableau in the basement. Personal effects of the missing hikers lay meticulously arranged on wooden shelves: watches, backpacks, cameras, wallets, all tagged with names matching those on the exterior wall. Forensic sleuths worked painstakingly, capturing each item in detail. Beneath the harsh glare of ultraviolet light, bloodstains emerged on the concrete floor, a grim testament to efforts at eradication. Though ground-scanning radar unveiled no hidden graves beneath the house, cadavered dogs persisted in signaling towards the thickly wooded expanse behind the property. As the inquiry deepened, Detective Keller observed a disconcerting shift in Mason's demeanor. He began reporting eerie incidents, whispers on the wind, fresh footprints leading to his door but never away, shadowy figures lurking in the periphery. The department assigned an officer to safeguard him, yet paranoia besieged Mason like a relentless specter. A breakthrough surfaced when buried land records unveiled the house's previous owner, a recluse named Victor Blackwood. Neighbors spoke of fleeting encounters with the unnaturally tall, gaunt man who shunned society. Blackwood had vanished without a trace 15 years prior, his disappearance left unprobed. Armed with a warrant, Detective Keller delved into the surrounding woods, unearthing a network of crude hunting blinds strategically positioned along popular trails. In one of these blinds lay a journal, its pages chronicling eerie observations, hikers' details, routes, gear, and unsettling musings. The script mirrored samples from Blackwood's scant documents, escalating from animal hunting tactics to grotesque accounts of human prey, meticulously chronicling the selection process of each victim on the wall. A sweeping manhunt for Blackwood ensued across multiple jurisdictions, with helicopters armed with thermal imaging scouring the forest canopy. Tactical units combed every crevice and cavern, yet the elusive hunter remained a ghost. Mason Wright fell off the grid, his apartment deserted, a haunting message freshly etched on his bedroom wall: the hunter becomes the hunted. For weeks, the search for Mason proved fruitless, until a chilling revelation unfolded during a revisit to Blackwood's residence. Concealed behind a false panel in the basement lay a small workshop stocked with woodworking tools, preserving agents, and a recently carved name, awaiting its place on the exterior wall. A name that struck a chord with Detective Keller, the lead forensic technician who had processed the initial investigation, absent that day due to illness, unresponsive to calls. Authorities draped a vigilant watch around the house, deploying cameras and motion sensors. The trap was set. 3 nights hence, alarms blared as sensors detected movement. Surveillance footage captured a figure emerging from the shadows, impossibly tall, unnaturally thin, moving with an otherworldly grace. As tactical squads converged, the cameras faltered, only to recover with the figure vanished into thin air. To this day, the house remains under constant vigil. Mason Wright and the forensic technician slipped into the abyss, their fates entwined with the enigma of the woods. The investigation endures, drawing upon fresh resources as echoes of similar disappearances ripple through wooded realms. The names etched on that foreboding wall have become a whispered legend among law enforcers, a tale too eerie to recount. Local hikers skirt around the house, fearful that even mentioning it may invite their names to join that dread roster, the names that none dare utter. Story 21. The aged apartment held secrets within its walls, pipes that groaned, floorboards that whispered tales of bygone days. Yet the new tenant sensed a presence beyond the ordinary. The footsteps she heard were too deliberate, too methodical, echoing from above in a slow, measured cadence. Curiously, she dwelt on the topmost floor, far removed from any upstairs neighbors. One fateful night, emboldened by a surge of courage, she tapped the ceiling with a broomstick. The sound ceased abruptly, swallowed by a profound silence that lingered ominously. Then, in the hush of the night, a solitary knock reverberated from within the very ceiling itself. Sarah Coleman chose to keep the haunting incident to herself, attributing it to the settling of the old building, or perhaps a stray creature seeking refuge in the hidden recesses of the attic. Despite her rationalizations, the enigmatic footsteps persisted, tracing invisible paths across her ceiling in the shroud of darkness. Night after night, she adapted, cranking up the volume of her television, shrouding herself in headphones as she sought to drown out the eerie footfalls that danced overhead. Detective Morris was drawn into the enigma when a maintenance worker stumbled upon a concealed crawlspace while attending to routine repairs. The worker, while fixing a water leak in the hallway outside Sarah's abode, chanced upon a clandestine passage that defied the building's known layout. With trepidation, he shone his light into the void, revealing a makeshift living quarter, a cache of food wrappers, discarded water bottles, a soiled blanket, and a weathered notebook. Promptly, the building superintendent summoned the police. Detective Morris, accompanied by his partner Detective Rivera, arrived at the scene to find the maintenance worker pallid and trembling. "Someone has been dwelling within the walls," he muttered, his words laced with fear. "Someone has been watching." Within the retrieved notebook lay meticulous observations of Sarah Coleman's daily routines, the timing of her comings and goings, the identity of her guests, her culinary preferences, her viewing habits, even the moments she sought solace in slumber. Initially pristine, the handwriting deteriorated into erratic scrawls towards the final pages, interspersed with cryptic symbols etched in the margins. "The subject has grown indifferent to my signals," the closing entry read. "She has chosen to ignore me. None shall ignore me." Forensic experts delved into the crawl space, unearthing fingerprints that eluded identification within any database. A labyrinth of passages intricately woven into the building's structure was unveiled, some dating back decades according to structural assessments. These covert passages extended to 5 distinct apartments, culminating in discrete observation points, tiny apertures camouflaged as fixtures or minor blemishes, all converging on Sarah Coleman's residence. Interviews with current residents bore no fruit, with none reporting anomalies beyond the customary clamors of communal living. Former denizens, however, whispered a different narrative. 3 predecessors of Sarah's tenure recounted sensations of being surveilled or strange sounds echoing through the walls. One had hastily vacated after a mere fortnight, their encounters shrouded in silence for fear of appearing delusional. A breakthrough emerged as forensics unearthed minuscule blood traces within one of the crawl spaces. DNA scrutiny linked the samples to Martin Weaver, a former inhabitant who had vanished inexplicably 4 years prior, leaving a void that had grown cold in the annals of law enforcement. Martin had resided directly beneath Sarah's abode. Detective Morris revisited Martin's disappearance, unearthing accounts from neighbors who attested to his grievances about noises emanating from the ceiling above his abode. Confrontations with the then occupant, a reclusive figure named Edward, who had since absconded, preceded Martin's vanishing act. A pattern emerged as investigators delved into Edward's past, unearthing a transient existence marked by a cycle of residing in top-floor abodes, fostering minimal social ties, and vanishing without a trace. A neighbor from Edward's third abode recollected him as an enigmatic soul, fixated on the pursuit of silence. The trail led investigators to remote rural terrain, where they stumbled upon a cabin bedecked with a macabre tapestry of images residents from assorted apartment complexes, including Sarah Coleman and Martin Weaver, schematics of ventilation systems and architectural vulnerabilities, and detailed diaries chronicling observations of the subjects and the intricacies of maintaining the habitat. Central to the cabin's eerie tableau was a corkboard adorned with missing persons reports, 6 in total, all former denizens of edifices where Edward had dwelt. Worryingly, deep gouges marred the wooden floor beneath the board, hinting at a grim ritual enacted in the shadows. The cadaverous scent hung heavy in the air as cadaver dogs led the team to freshly disturbed earth, unveiling a somber trove of human remains. As forensic anthropologists toiled to identify the fallen, Detective Morris retraced his steps to Sarah's dwelling. Though the crawl spaces had been sealed, whispers of nocturnal disturbances persisted among the residents. During the installation of enhanced security measures, maintenance personnel stumbled upon a chilling artifact nestled in a crevice where the ceiling met the wall, a fresh notebook, distinct from its predecessor. The inaugural page bore a solitary line: "They found my erstwhile sanctuary, but not my current refuge." The script mirrored that of the prior journal, culminating in a crude sketch of Sarah's apartment layout, with a crimson line marking a new passage, and a date ominously circled for that very night. Officers hastened to evacuate Sarah, only to find her abode deserted. Her phone rested inert on the kitchen counter, the television murmuring in solitude. The shower's cascade of water whispered a solitary lament. Within the bathroom, the mirror bore a cryptic message etched by a spectral finger. Look up. The shower's ceiling panel stood ajar, a fissure into the unknown. The manhunt for Edward, now identified as Edward Mercer, a former construction specialist well versed in the nuances of renovation, rages on. His covert knowledge of architectural frameworks birthed a hidden realm of surveillance and clandestine passages. Thermal scans of Sarah's residence unveiled no signs of current habitation within the walls, casting a pall of uncertainty over her fate. Sarah Coleman remains a spectral enigma, her enigmatic disappearance linked to a tapestry of vanishing acts spanning multiple states. Authorities have sounded a clarion call to apartment managers, cautioning against clandestine modifications and concealed enclaves within the confines of tenants' abodes. Yet amid the grim tableau of graves and diaries, Detective Morris finds himself ensnared by the specter of Sarah, ensconced in her dwelling as phantom footsteps echo in the recesses of his mind. In the cloak of night, within the confines of his own abode, Detective Morris gazes skyward, attuned to the nocturnal whispers that dance across his ceiling. A vigil ensues, a silent communion with the shadows, as he ponders the unseen audience that may linger in the darkness, listening for the echo of footsteps that once haunted Sarah Coleman. Story 22. Renovations always have a way of revealing hidden treasures of the past. Among the dust and debris lie forgotten artifacts, whispers of bygone days. Yet, when Sarah and Michael embarked on renovating their new Victorian-era home, they never fathomed the eerie discovery awaiting them beneath the floorboards. Nestled snugly beneath the aged wood was a letter, its paper fragile, its ink a faded memory. The words etched upon it sent a shiver down their spines. Don't trust the one who knocked. Before they could ponder its meaning, 3 sharp knocks reverberated through the empty rooms, sending a chill through the air. Drawn to the mystery, Detective Alina Reed arrived at the scene, her partner by her side. With the floorboards pulled up, the hidden message came to light. With practiced hands, she carefully retrieved the note, knowing that the couple's inadvertent touch had tainted it with their presence. As Reed listened to Sarah and Michael recount the unsettling events, a sense of unease settled upon her. Background checks on the couple revealed no cause for suspicion. They were simply newlyweds with a bright future ahead. The house, however, held a darker past. Previously owned by the reclusive Hargrove family, the house had stood silent for years following the passing of its last inhabitant, Margaret Hargrove. Despite the lack of any apparent foul play in Margaret's demise, a sense of foreboding lingered in the air. Delving deeper into the history of the house, Reed uncovered a tale of hidden debts and buried secrets. Franklin Hargrove, once a respected teacher, had fallen into the clutches of gambling debts, owing a substantial sum to a man known only as the Collector. Through interviews and meticulous research, Reed pieced together the puzzle of the past. Franklin's descent into paranoia, Margaret's silent terror, and the ominous 3 knocks that haunted their days and nights. The truth revealed itself in the shadows of the crawl space, where a grim discovery lay hidden beneath the earth. The remains of Victor Mercer, the elusive Collector, spoke volumes of a violent confrontation long buried in the past. As the pieces fell into place, the chilling reality of what had transpired decades ago came to light. Franklin's desperate bid to protect his wife, Margaret's unwavering loyalty, and the tragic fate that befell the collector in the dead of night. With the case closed and justice served, Sarah and Michael made the decision to part ways with the house, unable to bear the weight of its dark history. The once vibrant halls now echoed with whispers of the past, a reminder of the secrets buried within its walls. And so the house stood silent once more, its halls haunted by the echoes of 3 distinct knocks in the dead of night. Whether a trick of the wind or a ghostly presence, the mystery endured, a testament to the shadows that lingered in the heart of the old Victorian home. And as Detective Reed closed the case, she knew that some secrets were meant to remain buried, their whispers lost to the passage of time. In the quiet of the night, the note lay in evidence storage, its cryptic warning a silent testament to the mysteries that still lingered in the shadows. Story 23. The motel stood there, a relic of forgotten times, offering cheap rooms to weary travelers seeking only a brief respite. The receptionist passed her the key with a peculiar glance, a silent warning lingering in his eyes. "Just avoid the last door on the left," he whispered, a hint of mystery in his voice. Intrigue tugged at her curiosity. That night, as she wandered through the shadowy corridor, she halted before it. The doorknob chilled her hand, sending shivers down her spine. The door appeared nondescript, blending in with the others until she leaned in closer. A faint breath, a whisper, escaped from the other side. Detective Morgan Reed awoke from her slumber, stepping beneath the caution tape that barred entry to the room. The metallic tang of blood greeted her, a scent all too familiar. Crimson stains marred the faded carpet, a stark contrast against the untouched surroundings. A young woman lay motionless on the floor, her golden locks splayed like a halo. Her vacant gaze pierced the stillness, frozen in a moment of disbelief or fear. Reed knelt beside the victim, mindful not to disturb the evidence markers dotting the room. "Third one this season," remarked the forensic expert, his tone devoid of emotion as he captured the scene through his lens. "Same pattern as before," Reed nodded, a silent acknowledgement. The victim adorned in elegance, a stark contrast to the dreary motel. A designer purse lay open, its contents undisturbed. This was no ordinary crime of theft, a deeper motive lurked beneath. The motel manager lingered at the doorway, his pallor ashen. "She arrived alone, paid in cash, I never imagined," his voice faltered. "She was discovered by the maid during her rounds." Reed surveyed the room once more. No signs of forced entry, no struggle evident on the victim. She had either welcomed her assailant or recognized them. Back at the precinct, Reed pinned up photos on the board. 3 women, strikingly similar, all discovered in rundown motels. Rumors of a serial predator began to circulate, prompting unease within the community. "The autopsy results are in," announced Detective Hayes, dropping a file on Reed's desk. "Death by manual strangulation. No trace of DNA under the victim's nails. No signs of sexual assault." Reed furrowed her brow. This was personal, driven by something beyond mere predation. Days blurred together as the investigation deepened. Surveillance footage yielded no breakthroughs. The victim, identified as Elaine Werner, a meticulous financial analyst with no known enemies. Her friends painted a portrait of caution and precision, traits incongruous with a stay at such a dismal establishment. A breakthrough surfaced during Reed's interview with Werner's sister. She mentioned a man from work, the sister disclosed, hands trembling. "Someone secretive. I think he was married." Reed lined in. "Did she provide a name?" "Just C," the sister whispered. The focus shifted to Werner's workplace. Colleagues described her as reserved, professional. None were privy to her personal life, yet a business card tucked away in her desk unveiled a clue. Charles Emerson, Senior Vice President. Emerson exuded charm and poise during questioning, his alibi airtight. However, a flicker in his gaze betrayed a hidden truth. "Did you have a relationship with Elaine Werner outside of work?" Reed inquired casually. A momentary lapse in Emerson's composure hinted at concealed secrets. Forensics later matched fingerprints from Werner's belongings to Emerson. Confronted, his facade crumbled. "We were involved, but it was over. She threatened to expose me to my wife," he confessed. "Enough to end her life," Reed probed. Emerson's resolve hardened. "I never set foot in that motel," yet evidence contradicted his claims. A credit card transaction tied him to the neighboring room, paid for with a corporate card. A hidden camera discovered in the room next to the last door on the left exposed his sinister deeds. Fibers from his attire matched those on the victim, his DNA present on a glass in her room. His computer unveiled recordings of prior victims, a chilling revelation of his modus operandi. In the interrogation room, Emerson's facade crumbled. "They threatened everything I had worked for," he murmured. "My status, my marriage, my entire existence." The trial unfolded swiftly, a spectacle of justice witnessed by grieving families. Emerson remained stoic, devoid of remorse, his corporate mask firmly in place. The judge sentenced him to life imprisonment without parole. As he was led away, Reed caught his gaze. In that fleeting moment, she glimpsed not humanity, but a void where empathy should reside. The door on the left case captivated the media, dissected by psychologists and armchair detectives alike. Yet for Reed, the case lingered, a haunting enigma. Sometimes, wandering down dimly lit corridors, she found herself counting doors, pondering the mysteries concealed behind them. In the evidence vault, 3 identical keys lay dormant, relics of a chilling past. They serve as reminders that some doors, once opened, can never be shut. Story 24. She carefully cleared the mist from the mirror, her reflection gazing back at her. Everything seemed normal, her face, her attire. Yet a lingering unease crept over her. A flicker caught in the corner of her eye, a subtle movement not her own. As she turned away, her reflection remained fixed, watching her. Thus began the enigma of Rebecca Thorne, sparked by that unsettling moment in her bathroom, unraveling a tale that would perplex investigators and haunt a community for years to come. In a modest apartment nestled within a serene suburban enclave, Rebecca led a solitary existence. Known for her methodical nature and reserved demeanor, she maintained a polite distance from her neighbors while adhering to a precise routine. A data analyst by profession, her days were consumed by order and accuracy. No one could have foreseen that she would become enmeshed in one of the most enigmatic criminal investigations of the era. The first signs were subtle. Objects in her home began to shift inexplicably, a mug displaced, books rearranged, her toothbrush out of place. Initially brushing off these anomalies as mere lapses in memory from long hours spent poring over spreadsheets, Rebecca's concerns grew as the disturbances persisted. It wasn't until weeks later that she reached out to the authorities, with Detective Marion Shaw receiving her report. At first glance, the situation seemed benign, lacking concrete evidence of foul play. The absence of forced entry or missing items led Shaw to consider a mental health angle rather than a criminal one. However, the eerie episode with the bathroom mirror altered the course of the investigation. During her subsequent interactions with the police, Rebecca recounted in vivid detail how her reflection appeared to move independently, instilling a sense of constant scrutiny. The pivotal moment arrived when Rebecca shared security footage captured by a camera trained on her front door. The video unveiled a chilling revelation, a figure identical to Rebecca entering her apartment shortly after she had left for work. Forensic scrutiny of the footage yielded no signs of tampering, suggesting a meticulous mimicry of Rebecca's actions by an unknown intruder. Dubbed a doppelganger scenario by Detective Shaw, the investigation delved deeper into the uncanny impersonation. Despite matching fingerprints and the absence of foreign DNA, the perplexing nature of the case persisted. Neighbors attested to witnessing nothing out of the ordinary, with one exception: Mrs. Keller's encounter with a silent Rebecca returning home, a deviation from her usual demeanor. As the disturbances escalated, with food vanishing from the refrigerator and unexplained searches on her computer, Rebecca's sense of reality teetered. The discovery of unfamiliar selfies on her phone, portraying subtle deviations from her likeness, heightened her distress. "I feel as though I'm descending into madness or being coerced into believing so," she confided to Detective Shaw during their subsequent meeting. A breakthrough emerged when a pattern emerged in the security footage, linking the doppelganger's appearances to specific intervals when Rebecca was away attending routine commitments. The notion of targeted surveillance and meticulous infiltration emerged, hinting at a profound fixation on Rebecca's life by the perpetrator. A forensic psychologist's analysis shed light on the psychological underpinnings, suggesting a fixation case where the culprit sought to embody Rebecca, potentially supplanting her entirely. The focus narrowed on a former colleague, Lily Winters, who exhibited an unsettling fixation on Rebecca's identity following her dismissal for erratic conduct. A search of Lily's residence unearthed a chilling tableau, a meticulous replication of Rebecca's living space, complete with surveillance materials and mirrored wardrobe choices. Video recordings showcased Lily's painstaking efforts to emulate Rebecca's mannerisms, raising alarms about her escalating obsession. Confronted with the evidence, Rebecca realized the extent of the threat looming over her. Lily's insidious intent to usurp her identity. Lily's abrupt disappearance prior to her arrest fueled fears of her successful infiltration into Rebecca's life. The ensuing nationwide manhunt failed to locate Lily, leaving Rebecca ensconced in protective custody at a secure hideaway. The chilling denouement arrived when security footage captured a figure resembling Rebecca infiltrating her former workplace, perusing her files as if assuming her role. The realization dawned: Lily had seamlessly transitioned into Rebecca's existence, erasing her presence while masquerading as her. To this day, Lily Winters remains at large, evading capture, while Rebecca Thorne has forged a new identity in seclusion. Detective Shaw, haunted by the haunting resemblance between the two women, reflects on the sinister allure of stolen identities. She imparts a sobering truth to her protégés, emphasizing the sanctity of one's identity, a treasure vulnerable to those who covet it to the point of self-obliteration. Story 25: The Forgotten Secret. The old library sat silently, its fate sealed for demolition. The workers toiled away, their efforts nearing completion, when a serendipitous stumble led to a remarkable discovery. Hidden within the bookshelf lay a secret latch waiting to be found. With a gentle click, the bookshelf swung open, unveiling a passage shrouded in mystery, a passage that beckoned exploration. The air inside the hidden room was heavy, untouched by human hands for decades. Bare and desolate, the room held only a solitary chair, firmly bolted to the floor. Etched repeatedly on the walls, a haunting message echoed through the stillness: "I am still here." A call was made, and soon the construction foreman summoned the authorities. What began as a routine job swiftly transformed into a chilling enigma. Detective Morgan Walsh, a seasoned investigator, stood at the threshold, his flashlight cutting through the darkness like a beacon of truth. The cryptic message on the walls whispered of a tale untold, a puzzle waiting to be solved. "Secure the scene," Walsh commanded, his voice resonating in the confined space. "Let no one disturb a single thing until forensics arrive." The history of the building cast a shadow of intrigue over the unfolding mystery. Once owned by the prestigious Harrington family, the library bore witness to a tragedy that had long been forgotten. Rebecca Harrington, the family's enigmatic daughter, had vanished without a trace, leaving behind a void in the hearts of her loved ones. As forensic experts meticulously combed through the hidden room, traces of a dark past began to emerge. Hair and fibers embedded in the chair, minute bloodstains mingled with faded scratches on the walls, all pointing to a harrowing truth. A truth that had been concealed for far too long. Walsh delved into the Harrington family's past, seeking answers in the shadows of history. The timing of the library's donation after Rebecca's disappearance raised suspicions. A web of secrets began to unravel, revealing a connection that chilled the detective to the core. Further investigation unearthed a disturbing revelation. The hidden room's bookshelf had been installed by a contractor closely associated with Maxwell Harrington, Rebecca's uncle. Financial records hinted at a darker narrative, one of clandestine dealings and hidden agendas. Former library staff shared fragmented memories, shedding light on Maxwell's peculiar attachment to the secluded section of the building. His insistence on preserving its original state unveiled a facade that masked a sinister truth. The pieces of the puzzle fell into place when DNA evidence linked Rebecca to the hidden room. The chilling realization dawned: the young woman had not fled but had been imprisoned, a captive of her own family's dark secrets. Armed with a warrant, the detectives descended upon the Harrington estate, unearthing a damning piece of evidence, a journal hidden in Maxwell's study. Its pages bore witness to a twisted obsession, culminating in a heinous act of betrayal. Confronted with irrefutable proof, Maxwell's stoic faade crumbled, revealing a monster lurking beneath the veneer of respectability. His chilling confession laid bare the horrors that had transpired in the hidden room, the walls echoing with the echoes of a life cut short. The excavation beneath the floorboards yielded grim proof of Maxwell's crimes, Rebecca's skeletal remains, a silent testament to a life stolen. The courtroom held its breath as justice was served, the weight of truth finally bearing down upon the guilty. The library, once slated for destruction, now stood as a monument to a tragedy long buried. Flowers adorned its entrance, a tribute to a soul lost in the shadows of deceit. And in the silence of the hidden room, Rebecca's whispered message, "I am still here," echoed through the ages, a reminder that even in darkness, the light of truth will prevail. Story 26, The Enigmatic Manor. The new homeowners brushed off the crackling intercom as an oddity, a quirk of the old Victorian manor they now called home. The system, a relic from a bygone era, had been rewired but left forgotten until one fateful night. Curiosity piqued, the husband pressed the button, and a whisper crackled through the speaker, sending shivers down his spine. "Why did you come back?" The words hung in the air, unsettling in their mystery. His wife, standing close behind, denied ever uttering those words. The manor itself seemed to hold its breath, surrounded by ancient oak trees, its exterior weathered yet hinting at the modern interior within. Daniel and Meredith Parker had been drawn to the property for its rich history, unaware of the secrets it held. Detective Sarah Reeves arrived at the manor, her unmarked vehicle announcing her presence with a soft crunch of gravel. The call had mentioned a possible break-in, but there was an unspoken tension in the dispatcher's voice. Daniel, a ghostly figure in the dim light, led Detective Reeves inside, recounting the strange occurrences with the intercom. Meredith sat on an antique sofa, her hands clenched around a mug, untouched steam rising from it. Without preamble, she revealed a startling discovery hidden behind a wall, a small, deteriorating journal belonging to Alina, the previous owner. The entry spoke of fear and suspicion towards her husband, Vincent, hinting at a dark past. As the investigation unfolded, a grim truth emerged. Beneath the garden shed lay the remains of a woman, identified as Alina Blackwood. The evidence pointed to a tragic end, with Vincent Blackwood, now elderly and confined, at the center of the mystery. Vincent's confession unveiled a web of deceit spun over decades, culminating in Alina's untimely demise. The trial was swift, the judgment severe, condemning Vincent for his heinous act. Daniel and Meredith, unable to bear the weight of the manor's dark history, bid farewell, holding a solemn memorial for Alina on the restored grounds. The house, once a witness to unspeakable events, stood silent as the intercom was removed by the new owners. Workers reported strange whispers and static during the renovation, attributing it to mere coincidence. Detective Reeves revisited the case file, pondering the house's eerie ability to unveil its secrets. Known as the house that answered back, the manor lingered in local lore, a reminder of the voices silenced by time. Detective Reeves, passing by on her way home, would slow down, listening for echoes of the past carried on the wind, a haunting lullaby of whispers from a house with a dark history. Story 27. They stumbled upon it in the attic, concealed beneath a worn-out blanket. A porcelain doll, fragile and aged, with its vivid blue eyes painted wide open, never blinking. Sarah and Michael, a young couple, had never laid eyes on it before. They brushed it off as just another forgotten relic. Yet that night, as they settled under the covers, a sense of unease crept in. The air grew heavier, the silence more profound. And come morning, the doll had vanished from the attic, now perched at the foot of their bed. The couple had purchased the Victorian house at auction, drawn in by its intricate woodwork and enigmatic allure, despite whispers of its troubled past. Little did they know they were about to become entwined in its history. Detective Rachel Winters received the call on a crisp autumn morning. The female victim found in the master bedroom, her body contorted into an unnatural pose, limbs bent at precise angles, eyes wide open in terror. The male victim, discovered in the hallway, appeared as though he had been attempting to flee. The crime scene was immaculate, no forced entry, no signs of struggle beyond the final moments. "The placement is intentional," Detective Winters murmured, recording her observations as the crime scene was meticulously documented. The woman seems arranged, like a doll plucked from a shelf. The investigation kicked off with interviews of neighbors. An elderly lady recalled glimpsing a shadow flitting behind an upstairs window when the couple should have been away. Another mentioned hearing childlike laughter emanating from the vacant house in the dead of night. Each tale added a layer of disquiet to the mounting case file. Forensic analysis unveiled tiny fibers scattered throughout the house, vintage cotton and silk, akin to materials used in antique dolls' attire. The concentration was highest around the victims' bodies and the attic. Even more unsettling was the absence of any foreign fingerprints, DNA traces, or footprints besides those of the victims. Delving into the property's history, records unveiled a haunting pattern. 3 previous owners had met mysterious fates over 6 decades, with each case shrouded in unanswered questions and eerie anomalies. Detective Winters unearthed a faded newspaper clipping from years gone by. A renowned doll maker and his daughter had once resided in the house. The child's demise under suspicious circumstances, followed by the doll maker's unexplained suicide after crafting a final doll rumored to be an exact replica of his daughter, left a chilling trail. As Detective Winters probed further, she discerned a common thread among the victims. They had all made alterations to the attic space. Sarah and Michael had commenced renovations just before their demise, intending to transform the attic into a workspace. A breakthrough occurred when old photographs were discovered in a hidden compartment beneath the attic floorboards. Among the images was one of the doll maker with his creations, featuring a particular doll that mirrored the one Sarah and Michael stumbled upon. The doll seemed to shift positions between photographs taken moments apart, sending shivers down the detective's spine. Infrared scans unveiled a spine-chilling revelation: minuscule handprints, invisible to the naked eye, leading from the attic to the master bedroom, alongside an enigmatic residue of porcelain dust mixed with unidentifiable organic matter. A visit with a distant relative of the doll maker unveiled whispers of arcane practices involving human elements to animate his prized dolls, binding spirits to objects through ancient rituals learned on foreign soil. The investigation hit a dead end after this revelation. No suspects emerged, no logical explanation fit the baffling evidence. The case lingered unsolved and confounding. Detective Winters chose to retain the doll as evidence, securing it in a locked cabinet at the precinct. The following morning, the doll was missing from the cabinet, and the detective herself was found disoriented, with no recollection of the night before, as surveillance footage during those hours displayed mere static. The house changed hands once more at auction, its troubled past casting a shadow over its market value despite its architectural grandeur. The new proprietors discovered the attic barren save for a neatly folded blanket in a corner. The doll remained elusive, and the tragic demise of Sarah and Michael blended into the roster of unsolved cases that whispered about the precinct. Some swore they caught glimpses of it in evidence storage, though official checks yielded no confirmation. Detective Winters opted for an early retirement, citing personal reasons. On her final day, she tucked away a photograph of the doll maker and his collection, sealing it in an envelope marked "Never Open." The new occupants reported no disturbances, opting to leave the attic undisturbed. Yet on quiet nights, whispers circulated of a faint shadow dancing behind the attic window and the tender laughter of a child echoing through the stillness.